Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio. Joining myself, Robert, on the show this evening is AK, and hopefully a wee bit later on we'll be joined by Southside. Evening, AK.
Good evening, Rob. Evening, Southside. When it comes to take a team and everybody that's listening, welcome to Rangers Radio.
Yes, mate, the finishing line is in the sight. We're nearly there. Last game of the season tomorrow. But of course, there's a game on Wednesday night, mate. Another defeat on the cards. Isn't good as always. And there was a lot of noise around the game of things happening on game day that didn't sound the game, mate. So give me your thoughts on the game. I know you were at it. And anything else that you thought that happened that day, how that unfolded, and your thoughts on that, mate.
Aye, met yourself, obviously. Walter's statue before the game become a wee ritual between us if we can meet each other. Same with our Rangers Radio panel. So we got a wee chin wag there about what's happening, and then the team comes through, and then we see the obvious. Our captain is missing for the lineup, and he's not even on the bench. Then a few WhatsApp messages come through saying what's kind of happened and why he's no appearing there. And we learn that Tav's left the building and he's on his way home. So there was a lot of discussions and question marks and where's this going to and how did this happen and all that, because that night was meant to be, as well as it being a league game, it was meant to be Tav's chance to wave cheerio to the Rangers support. So it was a bit of a spanner in the works, shall we say, before we even kicked the ball. But we went into the ground, got in there quite early, same as yourself. It was a nice night, although a bit chilly. I don't know what the official crowd was, but obviously a lot of season ticket holders they'll call it as that. But I would say there were upwards of 30,000, which was probably more than to be expected, because we knew there was a lot of apathy in the Rangers support, and there was a few of them already talking about no going because of the way the season had petered out. So before the game, Tavernier shows up. He's suited and booted, and gets the presentation. He's service to Rangers over the 11 years that he's been at the club, with the greatest ever Ranger, Mr. John Gregg, who got a rapturous reception. Mr. Gredig and James Tavernier did as well. So, and then it was on to the game for there, Rob.
As you say, mate, a lot of things surfaced before the game, which I don't know about you, mate, but that seemed to kind of change the atmosphere. I know it was already going to be a bit flat because of the results, where the position of the table and how the season's ended, particularly the way it has. As you say, the crowd there was a less in numbers, but I think that can be expected. But it just felt, when that news filtered through about Tavernier, it seemed to change the atmosphere in and around the stadium, mate. But going on to the game itself, the boys done a bit of work on it last night, spoke about it in great detail, mate. But again, a bad start because we went go 1-0 down. But other than that, the goal that we did concede, mate, I think GB touched on it last night. You could put it on repeat this season. It's been something that we've seen over and over again, and it doesn't seem to be any learning from it, whether that's the coaching side or the players doing their job on the park. Another goal that's avoidable and a setback early on.
I think we've spoken about it many times, and it's a criticism that we can fire at this squad, because it's happened in many occasions over the course of the season already this year. But we didn't start with the right attitude, the right tempo. Wish we did have temper sometimes, but the application, it was one of the nights. Well, they don't go out there and represent the jersey the way they should. I thought young Connor Barn was excellent in midfield. He was industrious, he was busy, he was looking for the ball. Mikey Moore was looking to start the attacks. But see, the rest of the team Jermeety done a bit of running about, but no in dangerous areas. He's always drifting out to the flanks. He doesn't hold a central position. So because of that, we don't have a focal point to aim at if need be, where he should be, balls fired into the box. They're not there. So because of that, we have to cut back. We have to look for other options, other avenues to go down. And I just thought the tempo of the game wasn't great for us. By the way, and I still thought we were by far the better team. We got suckered a couple of times with Hibs. They broke fast on us. Fernandes, I think it was, strode into midfield, lost the ball in the dangerous area, but nobody covers his position. We go in a hint, Sterling, fire it across, and lo and behold, Martin Boyle tucks it away. His celebration, right enough, I thought was a wee bit naughty, but that sums him up, I suppose. But then we prod, we try, we try to get things going. I think Connor Barn had a couple of really good opportunities that flashed by the post, and the keeper made a really good save with a series of corners. Big Fernandes was unlucky with a header, and then eventually we come to an absolute belter of a goal with Asgard. Terrific took free kick, Rob. I don't know, you might have got a better view of that, but for where I was sitting, it looked an absolute cracker.
Aye, again, mate, it was something that Asgard's got in his locker. Ox mentioned it last night. He scored one against Queen's Park. I think it was a Alloa in the cup, and he's got that in his locker. That you can hit a free kick. We know his corners at times can be very, very poor.
Queen's Park, mate.
First man, Queen's Park.
That was Queen's Park.
But I'll be honest, mate. When they were standing over the free kick, I actually thought to myself, "Don't let Asgard hit this." If I'm being honest, just because of how poor his quality from dead balls have been, particularly corners. But it proved me wrong, mate. He rifled it in the top corner, and whether any game in the world, any keeper, that's a top draw free kick.
Oh, it was a cracker. It was just the angle, the corner of the box that he was at. It just looked a perfect area for a right-footed player to hit it. I think Roman stood over the ball as well. And he could have maybe caught the keeper out in near post and went the other angle. So it was good to have the options, because you're keeping the keeper guessing then about what sort of post he's going to aim at it. And but he caught it sweet, and it was up and down. It was pace. It was unsavable for the keeper. So it just shows you what he has got in his locker. His overall play, I thought, was a wee bit sporadic, in tempo with the game. Basically, the majority of our players were all at 4, 5, maybe the odd 6 out of 10, apart from, for me, Connor Barn and Mikey Moore. I thought they two were excellent all night.
I got to agree with you, mate. There was a move that Mikey Moore done in the second half, right in front of myself where I was sitting. A wee drag back and then a wee flick round the corner, took out 2 players, and that's the qualities he's got. And I think he spoke this afternoon as well at the press conference that we might hear later on tonight. He's a guy, AK, that he can go out of this club with his head held high. He's tried his best. At times he's been quiet in games. I think he says that himself. There's games where he's not been involved as much as he liked, and sometimes he's not played as well as he knows he can. But he's became a fan's favourite, and only time will tell to see what happens in the future with him. I think a lot of supporters out there would like to see him back, if it was possible.
Aye, if it was possible, but it's no up to him. It's out of his hands. Spurs is his club, so they'll decide what avenue he's going to go down. But no, the move has worked out good for him. He's grew up. He's arrived at our club as a young boy with loads of potential. The early games that I seen him, he didn't look particularly great, to be honest with you. The League Cup game against Alloa was the first time I seen him, and he kept running into trouble. He kept losing the ball. He was holding on to the ball too much. He wasn't releasing it at the right times and things like that. But he's learned. For me, he's improved dramatically. Probably if Danny Rowe came in, to be honest with you, he's gave him the confidence to have that free role in the team, and he's contributed significantly to our season. It's disappointing, obviously, the way it's ended, but he scored 2 goals at Parkhead in the 2 visits that he's went there, so he's no fear to the big game, what's ahead of him, and that should stand him in good stead going forward for whatever happens in his career. But as I say, we'll touch on his press conference, but heard him today. He speaks well about our clubs. Our club, he loved the environment. He loved the reception that he gets for the fans, the adulation. He'd never felt love like that before. So, no, I think it's a two-way thing. I think we took to the boy and the boy took to us as well. But when the ability and everything, it's all there. It's all just about working hard and keep working hard, and until you finish your career in this game. And there's a lot of the more experienced players that we've got in our ranks, Rob, that could actually learn off it, an 18-year-old boy. The same with Connor Barron as well. You work hard, you get appreciation off the crowd. You don't work hard, an Asgard, the Gassama, we don't hold much time for the guys. So there's lessons to be learned there for everybody, particularly the players. I mean.
Aye, and that's a sad indictment of fact, mate, that you're talking about an 18-year-old boy and you're looking at him as a role model for those that are maybe more experienced and been in the game longer. I think that tells you where some of the players are and some of the players in our squad are mentally, physically, or just don't understand the club and the culture. But we can go into that further, mate. But touching on the game is, again, the second half, I don't know about yourself, mate, a lot of ball possession, but it all seemed to be a lot of times in front of Hibs. They were very compact, they were defending in numbers, and we were just moving it side to side. No real kind of penetrating passes through. You were just kind of waiting for either a mistake or a lack of concentration and get caught in the break. And towards the end of the game, mate, that's ultimately what happened. Again, doing the left-hand side this time, ball comes across, and before you know it, time's running out, 2-1 Hibs, fourth defeat in a row.
Aye, that's the stats. That's what it tells you is the final result. It doesn't matter how you played during the game, your possession, your shots at goal, everything. Hibs have walked away with the 3 points, and that's disappointing, obviously, for everybody that's involved, because you put that sort of effort in, you make the effort to show up and support the team. And well done to everybody who did do that, rather than sit in the house. But aye, it's disappointing, and there's no doubt about that. And it's a record that Danny Rowe doesn't want. But for me, the players have chucked it. It's obvious now, and I fear that, Rob. I said to you a few weeks ago. I'm not sure whether I said it on the show, but after Tavernier's announcement, I fear that might derail everything and unsettle everything, and it's proved to be fruition. And I'm not taking any glue out of that, because obviously we were in a great position after the Falkirk game to kick on, and once we come back, for me, that just destroyed the camp. That split the camp, and that's what it looks like. They're going out there, they're not playing for the manager. There's a lot of times where they're just playing their own position. Raskin will just drift wherever. Tavernier will just drift wherever. They weren't playing as a unit. They weren't playing, organised, and we're getting suckered there. And that's how you train, and how your team ethic is in that change room can reflect on the performance on the part. That's where they can't hide anything that's not quite right behind the scenes. And for what we've seen for the Motherwell game onto the Hibs game there during the week, we knew there was something not right, because after blitzing Falkirk, everything looked great. We were the form team in Scotland, and now we can't win a raffle, basically.
Aye, that's it, mate. In a great position, and we've only got ourselves to blame. We've threw it away in these last 5 games. And there's obviously one game still to go, mate. And of course, that's tomorrow away to Falkirk. So we'll hear what Danny Rowe has to say ahead of that game and see what information he gives us, mate.
Even if you were to go on to not get a result this weekend, do you feel that backing would still be there? There would be no change from the board, even if it went to 5 games without a win post-split?
Yeah, this is my feeling at the moment.
What gives you that belief? What have you spoken about with the board maybe since the game the other night?
About everything, communications, about the games, the summer, new players, decision makings. We spoke about everything like we did always in the last couple of weeks.
Danny, just on the decisions that are going to have to be made this summer, Obviously, looking at 6 players been here on loan that'll have to return to their parent clubs, James leaving, a few other players whose futures will be uncertain. How many players do you think you'll need to come in and will have to leave this summer?
I can repeat my answer from the January when you asked me the same about how many players. I said, if you count now, this is 6, 7, some question marks. Yeah, will be again, of course, some changes, but we have to. We are not happy with the final result, with position third, and it means as well we have to change something to bring the club forward all together as a unit, and this is what I feel at the moment. We are one unit, one direction, and we go forward.
When we spoke to you in January about signings, you said that you had to make sure you were signing people who understood what it meant to play for this club. Do you think you have to put even more emphasis than perhaps you even did back in January now when you look ahead to the summer rebuild?
Yeah, I think general we saw in the last 3-4 months as well, and now also with the new situations, that we will lose some players, some leaders in this case, that we need as well more of them, that we create a good culture, good standards on and off the pitch.
Do you believe that those standards haven't been there, not just this season, but in previous seasons? And how do you find the right players with the right character to bring those standards back into this club?
Yeah, I think it helps when players played in similar environments. I think this is always helpful. It's helpful when players maybe were captains from former teams. It helps as well because they understand. And I think this is what we were looking for. I think this is a full picture. There's a good sentence what I read the last couple of days. I think this is also important. We want to create leaders, not just followers. And I think this is a part what we have to. And this is what I try to be the best leader. And I come back. In football we have a lot of emotional decisions, but you need decisions with good emotions. And this is what I try every day.
In terms of replacing James as captain, do you have someone within this squad in mind that could take that on next season, or would you look to sign someone that has the characteristics that you're looking for in a captain?
Let's ask me this question in the pre-season. Not yet. I think it's important tomorrow after the game to have a little bit distance for reflection. I think I start always by myself. What was wrong the last couple of weeks, why we dropped, why we couldn't win. And then I come with a lot of energy, a lot of goals and ambitions back, and prepare a team who has a chance to win next year the title.
AK, he certainly still believes he's got the backing from the board. I know it's obviously been a widely discussed topic over the past few weeks amongst the support about Danny Röhl's future. But given the conversations he's had with the board, the plans that have been in place for the summer, the plans obviously started after the January window. He said that they've been ongoing for weeks and months. He still believes that he's going to be the man that's going to lead this team forward into next season.
Aye, well, listen, we can only go with what he's saying in the press conference, but I would like to hear from our owner himself, Mr. Kavanagh, come out and tell the support why is the reason why you're keeping him, what gives you the belief that he is the man to take us forward. Now, the discussions that we had in the Spain, Rob, have significantly changed because everything looked positive, everything looked in the direction that we possibly could have been on to win the league title. Right, so the discussions are obviously all positive because Danny Röhl statistically had the most number of points out of all the teams in Scotland to get us to that point. But it's all very well getting to the challenging position, need to finish it off. And at that point, we had a great chance to finish the season as champions, even though it was hard to believe. So I can believe there was a lot of positive talks back then between the owners, between the recruitment team, the manager, himself. They would have had discussed a strategy and possible transfer targets and budgets, etc., and potential players that was going to leave. I'm pretty sure all of that was decided there. But the goalposts have changed a wee bit now for a lot of support. The belief has certainly been questioned with a lot of support whether Rowe is the right man to go forward. Personally, I don't really care if he carries on beyond this season or not. I just want to see Rangers winning. But I want to hear why Andrew Kavanagh has that trust and belief, and whether he actually does. It's all very well our manager saying that, but we've heard many managers of a different club having that dreaded vote of confidence off your chairman, off your owner, and then you find out weeks or months later that you're gone. You know, Russell Martin had it at the start of the season, Patrick Stewart and Thelwell had it as well. So we know the Americans are ruthless. So I would like to hear Andrew Kavanagh's reasons why. And if they're plausible and believable, then I think that might just calm the Rangers support down a wee bit and have belief in the man that Danny Rowe, he is the right man to take us forward. Because if you're talking about the gut out of the dressing room that he's talking with, that leadership team should be the first to go. He's already told Tavernier, you're no gone. Raskins disappeared off the face of the earth, probably protecting himself for the World Cup. Butland was spoke about, Suter, another one, Sterling, another one. They're five of that. I don't know where Sterling's in the leader group, but he's been there a while. And then we've got all the loan players that we've spoke about, and the signings that Russell Martin and Thelwell and them made that obviously didn't improve us. Your Asgards, your Gassimas, your Antmans, you know, guys of that, I don't think they're good enough to take us forward, and I think Danny Rowe knows that as well. So if we get a blueprint to follow and believe in, then I think it might just calm the support down that wee bit. But we'll not know that until we actually hear from our chairman, our owner.
He was obviously asked there about that kind of leadership group when he mentioned that we needed to bring in some new leaders because he knew they were going to lose some. That obviously comes down to, again, your recruitment, AK. And with that comes the role of a new captain. He was obviously asked there, is there anyone in the squad or will it be a new signing? But I think it's important, and what he did say, it's time to take a bit of distance after this game tomorrow and reflect on what's went wrong the past few weeks, starting with himself, but also the players as well. The players have to self-reflect, the manager needs to self-reflect and come back and see. But whoever comes in, AK, it is important that those standards that we've seen over the years, and a lot of fans will still champ away at and say the standards have slipped. For me, I think they have. I think the standards have slipped over the years, mate. I don't know about yourself.
100% they've slipped, aye, because I grew up as a boy and there's many out there that's older than me. They've all seen great Rangers teams, they've all seen great Rangers players. Either there've been barren spells in the past. John Gregg, still the greatest ever Rangers. He didn't win a hell of a lot in his first 9-10 years as a Rangers player. Well, he did when he initially started, and then he went through a 9-10 year period, and then he started winning again when Jock Wallace was our manager. But we did go through certain periods in no winning things for a number of years, but this is just, it's draining emotionally because we're all at each other's throats. And what's the right way to go about? People want to keep sack managers until you get the right manager, but we've not had the right manager. Listening to Smurf and Josh in that last night, for 2012, we have had 9 permanent managers. I'll run through them with Ali McCoy, Mark Warburton, Caixinha, Gerrard, Gio, Beale, Clement, Russell Martin, and now Danny Rowe. That's not good enough for our club. You need stability and unity, I think, to bring success, because up until then, I think over 130 years of history, we'd only got, was it 11, 12, 13 permanent managers? You know, so we've got a reputation of sticking with a manager because they're successful. These managers in the last 10, 15 years haven't been successful, but the recruitment hasn't been great either, Rob. And that's been evident for Gerrard left. We take a team to a European final and we've got worse and worse and worse where our recruitment's not been good. We've ignored the Scottish market for far too long. With players and managers. We could have had Derek McInnes in as our manager a few years ago. We could have had Lawrence Shanklin. We could have had Lewis Ferguson. We've spoken about them all. but we can continue to ignore the, avenues we look at players, because the manager or the director of football, he'll look at his expertise area in the English league or the Scandinavian leagues, and African guys are bringing to their club. But the problem with doing that, though, Rob, is they don't have any affiliation for their club. So we don't have the guys that know how to win away at Livingston or away at Tannadice and away at Horrible Night at Ross County. Or, you know what I'm saying, mate? But it's just there's been a reoccurring theme ever since Gerrard left, with the players no liking the manager, the down tools. We go through a series of bad results. We get the manager sacked. New manager comes in. We get a wee bounce. We go again. Comes to the crunch, a big game. We lose that. Disgruntled supporters, and it keeps going on and on and on. So we need to break that cycle, mate. But as I say, if Andrew Kavanagh has decided to break the cycle, we need to stick with all. Then he's the man. He's the man that's decided that, and nobody else.
Just before we hear part 2 of Danny Rose' press conference, mate, on the captain, given how many players within that dressing room have had a lot of criticism this season, would you give it to anybody in there, or do you think it needs somebody new coming in, bringing a bit of freshness within that dressing room?
Personally, I would be going all out and getting Lewis Ferguson. He's Scottish for a start. His family played with the club. He knows what the club's all about. He's a Rangers supporter. He's, I believe, to be on around about 25 to 30 grand a week, which a lot of your players are on that already. The stumbling block might be what his actual transfer fee is. But I'm sure if Danny Rowe wants him and he convinces the investors to fork out the money, I would be going to get Lewis Ferguson, make him my captain, and build the team around him. I think Billy touched on it last night. See if we could add a Billy Gilmour in there at a line. I think that might be a wee bit far-fetched, but if that's a good start for me. Lewis Ferguson in there, and at least he'll drive the standards. The boy, he's a winner. He's won with Aberdeen. He's a digger in the midfield. We've missed that. We've missed that guy to drive us on. So for me, I think that would be a good start, and then you build the team round about him. But we also need 8 out of 10 performances every week. See all this 8 out of 10, 3 out of 10, up and down. Inconsistent performances gives you inconsistent results, and that's been a factor of where we've went wrong a lot this season as well, Rob. What's your own thoughts, mate? What do you think?
I think it needs to be a new signing. I'm fully behind the Lewis Ferguson transfer. I think that would be a good addition to the squad. As you say, he's got a lot of credentials. Obviously, the connection through the family to Rangers. He knows what it is. He knows the club. Derek Ferguson always keeps on that Lewis is sitting over in Italy watching the Rangers games, so he's seen it. He's always keeping an eye on us. That's never left him. Although he's left Scotland, it's never left him. So I'm behind that. Whether he's the captain, I think he's got a good case. Again, you've touched on it. He captains Bologna. He's a Scottish internationalist, likely to be going to the World Cup. So you talk about experience and leadership. He ticks a lot of boxes. But again, it depends on who the club bring in the summer. There may be somebody there who's got the edge of being a captain more than Lewis Ferguson. I'm not saying he's not capable of doing it, far from it. But it would be interesting to see who comes in the summer. But I think it needs to be somebody that's incoming rather than somebody that's already there, just to bring that freshness, a new leadership, new vision, and a bit of freshness within the squad, mate. But we'll hear from Danny Rule, and then we'll hear from the callers, and we'll get the phone lines opened.
Sounds good, mate.
Danny, in general, how difficult is it for a young coach to go into a dressing room, big egos, big personalities, and change a culture that's been a losing culture into a winning culture?
Yeah, this is part of the job. When I changed from assistant coach to a manager, it was, I think, exactly the process you need. I come back to my former stations. I think it helps massive to see in the daily business big players like Müller, Neuer, Kimmich on the pitch every day, what it means, which standards they set in the training. When I remember every trainings game was like a match day. Everyone wants to win. And I took a lot from this time. I learned a lot from Hansi Flick. I think he's doing again an outstanding job in Barcelona, win titles, manage the group, and all this experience help to be ready and to manage a group of players with interests, but always the main goal is about the interest of the club and the team, and this should be also the goal in the future.
See the group of players here, do you think losing games and losing goals hurts them enough, or does it need to hurt them more to change that?
It hurts them because I feel them in the dressing room. I think the most important thing is that we fight through also to the difficult moments during the game. I think, and this is what we have to take from this game. If you concede a goal, then we need sometimes a game management where you come through the next 10 minutes to be able to come back in the game. And I think the last 3 weeks was really a roller coaster from emotion, up and downs, conceded goals, we scored, leads, defeats. Finally, 4 defeats. It's a scenario that nobody could imagine 3 weeks ago.
Danny, how important is it to get a positive result tomorrow so that the season doesn't end, on another negative?
Yeah, the most important thing in football is winning games, and this is what we have to do tomorrow. I think I looked the game back and I saw that in the background after our goals, our supporters' celebration, and I said, it was a good day. We were back, we showed character, we showed mentality, we come back from a 2-0 down. We showed that we are ready for the split. But football is football. You can plan, you can think about all those things, but then there come some own stories.
Could you give us an update as far as you can regarding injuries and availability for tomorrow?
Yeah, of course. Like I said, Tev not available. I think Nico is not available. Still problems with the hamstring. Dušan is always about the 4G pitch. This is a part. Ryan will be not available. Bailey is back in the training, but of course not available for the game. Hopefully I didn't forget someone. I think that's it.
Danny, you said after the Old Firm game that the club planned to have some discussions with representatives from the Scottish FA. I'm just wondering if you know how those discussions went, and given some of the other decisions we've seen across the league in recent weeks, how strong your faith in VAR is just now.
Yeah, I think as a general, a big topic at the moment. I will not compare them with us, but we speak about consistency from our performance. We need this over 90 minutes, game by game. I think the most important thing for the new season is that we have consistency also with decision making on the pitch. I think this is the most important thing, because you see some similar situations. I think, like I said, after the Celtic game, our decision with the offside or not offside, you see a similar situation. There is offside, whereas there was no offside. You see some fouls, you see some decisions during the box. I think it's about consistency, and this is what we have to work for and what we have to improve also for the league.
The last time we've spoken to you, you've spoken about the backing you've had from the boards, but when you see the banner that was outside Ibrox during the week, and of course the way that it's played out publicly with James Tavernier, do you feel like there's maybe a bit more external pressure from the support on your own position here?
Well, I think general, you lose 4 games, it's normal. It's normal that you get a little bit more critical feedback. I think this is the part, and this is the reason when you especially also join this club, then you have to be prepared for this as well. That there will be a time where you will be the hero 2 weeks ago, and we were on a good way, and you have a time where you have to come through. But this is also what I demand from my players, and this is what I demand from myself. I think it's never to run away. It's always about develop resilience, go through, show leadership. I think I made this after the game as well, to see and speak to our supporters. They always support us, and this I will do in the future as well.
Sure. Danny, just come back to the Old Firm match. See, in terms of the explanation you got from the SFA, did they say the decisions on the pitch, i.e. the equaliser and not sending off Alistair Johnson, were the correct decisions?
Yeah, I think with the foul, I didn't see it in this way, and with the offside, I think the most important thing when you see how Czech could handle the situation, it was not possible because he has an opponent player in front of him, and then we shoot back, and finally they make the decision in this game. I think they will also analyze the season, and then they will take hopefully the right consequences.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Danny, in general, how difficult is it for a young...
Thanks for that, Fox. AK, refereeing decisions and talks with the SFA, we'll come on to that in the second half of the show, but tomorrow's game, although playing for only points, which is quite sad given where we were a few weeks ago, it's still important. Nobody wants to have 5 defeats in a row ending a season, and nobody wants to be starting with that on their back next season either.
Oh, well, you're still representing our club. We've still got hundreds of supporters. I'm not sure what our allocation is, but I'm sure it was less than 1,000 that we get for Falkirk. So I've no doubt we've sold out our allocation. We'll still have our support going to watch our team expecting 3 points, because that's what we're used to, that's what we're brought up, and that's the mentality that the team, the players, the staff, everybody connected with Rangers has got to have. Whether the game means immaterial for the league, Disney personally, because these are unwanted records that Danny Rowe, Disney want on his record himself, because people are going to hold that against him. And I see a lot of supporters out there saying that why did they not give Tavernier the opportunity to walk his family and that, and I get that mental value of that, but the only thing that I would say to that is he knew he was injured. He told you in his statement he was injured. Danny Rowe told you he was injured on the Tuesday in the presser. So him and the medical team decided that he wasn't fit to start. And what was the point of starting him if he breaks down 5-10 minutes into the game and then you need to sub him? So for me, the way I've read it is discussions have took place. Tavernier, I think, because he told him to delay his injection for the Tuesday he was meant to have, so he would have missed the Wednesday game and the game tomorrow. Because Danny Rowe told him to delay the injection to the Thursday, then he was under the impression that he was going to start him. But he never indicated that to him. No, for me, didn't he? And I think he said that in his pre-match presser on the Tuesday. But he wanted him part of the squad because he spoke about it. This was going to be Tav's night. Tavernier could have changed for the sit on the bench. He could have walked out with his kids, then sat himself on the bench, and then Danny Rowe brings him on later in the bench. But Tavernier decided, no, that's no good enough. That's not what you tell me, blah, blah, blah. Storms out to Ibrox, frantic phone calls. We've got a presentation here with John Gregg for you. He comes back to Ibrox, we see him on the pitch, and then he's pictured buggering off and leaving Ibrox 5 minutes later. That's not the actions of the captain for me. I don't know what your thoughts is on it.
I think Ox touched on it last night, mate. Being very public, it's going to cause a bit of a divide between supporters and potentially some players as well. And I know there's been a lot of people online highlighting the fact that current players, previous players have all kind of reacted to James Tavernier's statement that he put out on his Instagram. Similar the way they responded to when he announced his departure as well. by kind of showing support for him. From what I've read, it's the same, mate, as yourself almost, that the opportunity was there to be part of the squad. But when you look at James Tavernier's statement, he was willing to take the injection on the Tuesday, ruling himself out on the Wednesday. So that says to me that he was willing to sacrifice that moment that he could have had as well. Again, like yourself, I'd like to hear kind of from the owner on this, because I think you've kind of got it as some people are seeing it as Team Danny Rule versus Team Tavernier, and I don't think that's the way it should be. I think it's been handled very poorly by both sides. There's clearly been a breakdown of communication or understanding of Tavernier believing that he was starting, Danny Rule saying that he's been open and honest that he was going to be a substitute. But if he is injured, he mentioned to get a knock after the Hearts game. The question then kind of poses to me, why did they start the Celtic game? Because I think a lot of people would have had John Sterling starting over Tavernier against Celtic. And arguably, even on Wednesday night, mate, if it wasn't James Tavernier's last game at Ibrox, I think a lot of people would have had Sterling starting as well. So I get the sentiment, I get the moment to give Tavernier recognition for his longevity at the club. But on the flip side, I see the fact that Danny Rowe's picking a team that he thinks is strongest enough to start to win the game. Now, in hindsight, that didn't work out because we lost it. But you couldn't predict that. But again, I think a lot of people, if it wasn't Tavernier's last night, they would have started Sterling. I think it's been handled by both parties not great, and the fact it's became so public, it just, a lot of it gets added into it, and I think it's become quite messy, if I'm honest, mate.
Oh, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. It's a public spat that we could have done with it. But there's a lot of it orchestrated with Tavernier, with his announcement. He broke rank to do that. Rangers knew nothing about it. Because I'm pretty sure that Rangers would have done it through their official channels and done it in the proper manner, but Tavernier chose to do that himself. So that's where it all started, and then the culmination is what materialised on Wednesday night there. It's a mess, it's a lack of communication, but in essence, who picks the Rangers team? Who's paid to pick the Rangers team? Danny Rowe. So whether it's a captain, whether it's a player, he's got no right to pick the manager's team for him, particularly if he breaks down 5-10 minutes into a game and then he has to get subbed. He's trying to win a game of football there in the league. It just looks like Tavernier tried to make it a testimonial. You can't do that. For me, that's bang out of order with Tavernier. Danny Rowe is the Rangers manager, and he's got every right to pick the team that he thinks is the strongest team that he can. And then the kind of sentimental value comes back in later in the game. But I'll tell you something, Tavernier will regret that for the rest of his life.
That's certainly been a widely discussed topic since Wednesday. I don't know what's been discussed more, to be honest with you, James Tavernier or a certain penalty incident at Fir Park, mate. But we'll dig into that in the second part. As I said, there's been a few developments tonight in relation to some decisions that we've seen in the past, and a lot of eyes currently on Scottish football, not just for the title race tomorrow, but also the officials, which Rangers have highlighted in the past. But again, as I said, we'll touch on that later, mate. But getting back to the squad availability tomorrow, no Tavernier, no Nico Raskin, no Nadiri. Sterling, always unsure about the 4G. Danny Rowe's last words when we went to Falkirk were, it's impossible to play in this pitch. Does that suggest to you, mate, that Dujon Sterling won't feature and you'll see Max Aarons at right back? Wow.
Aye, listen, he came on during the week there as well, Max Aarons, and to be fair to him, he didn't look sluggish. I know he's no featured a hell of a lot, so it basically says that the only right back we've got available will be Max Aarons. So I would expect Aarons to start tomorrow. I would expect Kelly to come in. If you want, I've got a team there. I'll run through it quickly. I've got Kelly, Aarons, Giga, Fernandes, Romans, Barron, Chukwani, Diamande, Moore, Chermiti and Asgard. That's the team that I would start tomorrow. As you said, he's restricted and limited on certain players because of the surface of the park, because of injuries, and just, you know, I don't know if there's any young boys that might feature there. I don't think we've seen any late, but he might throw in a youngster or two. But basically, Danny Rowe's looking for the 3 points and stop this run of losses.
Are you picking that Kelly just for your namesake, or is it because it's potentially his last game for Rangers? He has got a contract in the summer.
I'll give him a half each then if they win. Listen, I don't know about you, but I think with the whole leadership thing that Danny Rowe keeps going on about, I think that he's just now at the point where you're out the plans. So I would be throwing Kelly in there. Even before Wednesday, I've seen forums and podcasts saying that they might even throw Kelly in just because Jack Butland's every shot that he has at him, he's letting it in. So why no? He's a international keeper, and he's sitting there on the bench. So why no?
Okay, mate. Better late than never. Southside joined us. Evening, Southside.
Evening, Trips. Evening. I'll give a shout out to everybody on the YouTube feed that's listening in as always. Sorry for being late, but couldn't be helped, guys.
No, not at all, mate. Floor is all yours, mate. Give us your thoughts on Wednesday night, James Tavernier, and we've just heard the press conference from Danny Rowe ahead of tomorrow, mate. So anything you've got on your chest, get it off. Apart from your t-shirt, keep that on.
I might as well. It's coming off when I go on holiday. Pretty dismal the other night, Wednesday night. I thought we'd have controlled parts of the game, to be honest, without really threatening too much. I can't remember the stats, but I think we'd maybe 5 or 6 shots on target. But it only resulted in one goal. It was a cranking free kick, mind you, for Asgard. It was a top of a free kick. Stupid goal to give away. Fernandez went and run up the park and lost the ball. And for then on, Hibs break up the park, and you could see it. You could see the 2 on the 1 on Romans at the back post, the way they were switching about. And when the ball came in, 5 minutes gone, boom, 1-0 Hibs. So it was one of the ones. I thought, being at Ibrox and being the last game at Ibrox, I thought we would have probably went out and got the 3 points. But again, certain players obviously aren't cutting the mustard at the club and won't be good enough, or they haven't been good enough this season. So there will be changes in the summer, I would imagine, with an influx of players, which I think is needed. And the ones that will go. 1 or 2 might not feature now at the end of at all. I don't think Raskin will feature. I don't know the situation, but I don't think he'll feature. I think he's going to the World Cup, so you'll want to just make sure that he's fit and ready for that, I would imagine. And obviously Tav, be listening to what Danny Rowe had to say, and I heard a few snippets before the game, sort of what had been happening. Disappointed in Tav's attitude, to be honest. End of the day, you're captain of the club, that's fine. If you're not starting, but you're going to come on at some point, as the manager's alluded to, due to whatever it was with the medical team, injection and whatever he was meant to get, then you take it. I don't get sentimental about players. I don't think it's down to him to decide that he'll trot his family out in a league game before a Rangers game and a league game. If you want to do things like that, either do it at the end of the game when you're walking around the park, if you want to bring your wife and your family on, or you do it during your testimonial, should you be honoured to get one. I think that's when you use things like that. I don't think it's down to us as a club to let players just dictate, captain or no, last game or no, how he wants it to pan out. End of the day, we still had to win a game of football, which we never. I don't think Sterling plays in that surface. Then on Saturday, tomorrow, so I'm losing track of days tomorrow. So when we go to Falkirk, might be Aaron's, because I don't know the situation with Tav. I don't know whether he will take part or no. So if he doesn't, I don't think Sterling plays on that surface, as he's alluded to before. So probably Aarons would probably start at right back if it's no Tav. And that's my thing on Tav, Robert. I just don't think he dictates to the club about what he wants to do, regardless. He's been here for this length of time. He's been a tremendous servant. He wasn't great when we went up to the Chamber of Secrets. He wasn't great that day. And yet he thought he would just turn up, and because it's the last home game, he would lead the team out and all this stuff about, oh, my boy this and my boy that. And it's no cutting the mustard, mate. We've got we're a football club, and we've got to win 3 points. And it's not about how, in my opinion anyway, it's not how he wants it to work out and how he wants to bring his boy out, and his boy's disappointed he can't walk out in the park with his dad. I'm not having it, mate. It's no the way it should be done.
Just on the team availability for tomorrow, mate. You mentioned there Tav, Nico Raskin and Sterling. We'll confirm today that Tavernier, Raskin and Adire are unavailable, and Sterling, I'm not sure because of the pitch, but the last time we went there he said it was impossible to play on, so we just discussed there the potential of Max Aaron's being at right back because you've got nobody else really left for that, mate. But just when you mentioned there Tav's attitude, AK, just when we were discussing it before Southside joined us, one thing that I failed to mention was that I didn't kind of like was the fact that he came back, got that presentation from John Gregg, but then left. I didn't like that. I thought he'd have at least hung back, especially to watch the game, and then maybe commit it full time as Southside said there. That's one thing that I think maybe a few people missed that Tavernier did leave right after getting that presentation.
Aye, good evening, Southside. Good to hear from you again, pal. No, listen, I totally agree with you, Rob. For me, Tavernier still had the option there to get strapped and ready for action, and he's declined it. He's the one that stormed out of Ibrox. He's the one that's come back, got his presentation, and then stormed away again. That's not becoming a Rangers player, never mind a Rangers captain, to do that. Either there's faults maybe on our side. We could have done it better, but no, I'm with Southside as well. Said it earlier there too, Southside. Tavernier thought he was basically treating that league game there as a testimonial for him, and nah, that doesn't cut it. We were there. It's a competitive game. We're not there for kisses and cuddles with our opponents. We're there to get tore in. We're there to get 3 points. 3 points that we didn't get. But I think the adverse effect mentally on that group of players on Wednesday and prior to Wednesday, as I said, when he made his announcement that went against the club, it's derailed everything that Danny Rowe had done to get us in a challenging position, and it's materialised with the lack, the apathy, the endeavour of the players that has played all the games since then, and they've resulted in 4 losses, because that's what Scottish football does, isn't it? It does to you. If you're not up for the game, if you're not showing the right attitude and application, the organisation, the desire, everything, all the fundamentals that a player should have when he's pulling on our jersey, you're not going to win games, and that's against Motherwell, that's against Hibs, Hearts, Celtic, Aberdeen, Falkirk. It might well be case tomorrow. If we don't show up again, the right attitude and application, Falkirk will beat us as well. That's what Scottish football is. That's what professional football is. It's not just alien for our country. But nah, Tav's attitude for me was disgraceful.
So you've said, are you expecting any kind of drastic changes to the team tomorrow, line-up wise, because it is the last game? Because there is some pressure, obviously, to get that win.
Aye, there is. There's a few been out the picture for quite a bit of time. Obviously, Aaron's might come in because of the situation with Tavernier. And obviously, we know how Jaime doesn't play on the surface. He might risk Romans on it, he might not. He might play Magoma. But I don't see many changes to the back line. I wouldn't mind if he dropped Butland and played Kelly, but whether he will or no, I don't know. And the midfield probably picks itself just where it's been the last couple of games, because that's all the players that we've got fit. A Diamond or a Barron. Chukwani maybe come in for the cold, maybe. But nah, I don't think much will really change, to be honest, Robert. I don't think we've got the players up to speed for it. You might fling Majowski in if he wants to go with a 2. But I think it'll be much of a muchness. I think you'll probably find that Mikey Moore will play. Asgard might find a place on the right-hand side, because I don't think Scove Olsen will start, and I don't know if Gismara will come back in, so you might play Asgard out there on maybe slightly on the right-hand side of the team, but I don't think there'll be many changes. And fair play to Falkirk for their ticket prices as well, £25, £26. That's a good price considering what we've been paying all season at every other away ground. They've been pretty consistent with their prices. So fair play to them. But it's a game we need to go out and try and win. You don't want to finish a game with every game after the break with a loss. But it'll be down to the players' attitude tomorrow. It's down to them to make sure that they get it over the line. Some of them will be going World Cup duty and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see who he sort of selects. But it's down to the players, mate, to make sure that they get the win.
AK, that's it. It is ultimately, although it's the last game of the season, you can't be on holiday mode. You've still got to go and get a win. And as I said earlier on, you want to stop that rut of not winning games, but also you want to kind of end the season with a win to kind of somewhat put you in good stead going forward. We know we've slipped up, we've missed a great opportunity to go and win something this season, but you don't want to be coming back after the summer with that record on you, and especially down the road with the pressure that's mounting on them from the support, the media, and a lot of things surrounding the club.
You've basically answered your own question there, Rob, but I agree with everything you said there, mate. We brought this on ourselves with the split in the camp, and the players are playing for their future there, Rob. Managers is playing for his future and all, so that's what everybody has to realise. You've got to go out there and show what it means for our club. We don't do friendlies, you know. It's even our friendlies. Seen one years ago, Charlie Miller, they were there in America, and Walter went through him because he didn't show the right desire and application what it means to wear our jersey, even in training, and that's got to be competitive, you know. And Mikey Moore touched on that in his press the other day. If we get to hear it, that's what he enjoyed about Rangers, because it was about that certain standard that they demand of each other, and you know, to then put it onto the park to produce on a consistent basis, and we've not showed that enough this year, and that's why our season's been so up and down, and we're flat now. So the players owe the manager a performance, and they owe the support a performance. The guys are going there again tomorrow, and their draws, whatever tickets they can get, will still go and watch our team, because that's what we do. We don't give up in our club. We're the constant in the club. Players come and go, managers, directors, chairmen, owners, they all come and go. Rangers is our team, and we follow them near and far.
Here, mate. Here. Well, we're just getting close to that time of the night for a tune. Do you get a suggestion tonight? AK?
Derry's Wolves.
Southside?
Something about a battle fever on it. So usually you'll see all the lights go off anyway. All the Tardellis will go running at 9 o'clock when the tune comes in. It's always funny to watch.
Well, get yourself on mute, boys, and let's see what Fox has got for us tonight.
I've sailed the wide Atlantic, across the broad Pacific shore. I've sailed around the stormy capes, I've heard the parties roar. I've flied the Indian Ocean, I've sailed the China Sea. Well, there's a sea back home in Scotland, means more than all the rest to me. It's the blue, yes, the blue sea of eyebrows. It's the greatest sight that I have ever seen. It's the blue, yes, the blue sea of eyebrows. And it happens when the orange beat the green. No more I'll sail the seven seas, no more I'll ever roam. No more I'll feel the urge again. I'm back where I belong. At 3 o'clock each Saturday, I'll join a happy throng with Rangers banners all around. We'll proudly sing this song. It's the blue, yes, the blue sea of eyebrows. It's the greatest sight that I have ever seen. It's the blue, yes, the blue sea of eyebrows. And it happens when the orange beat the green. It's the blue, yes, the blue sea of eyebrows. It's the greatest sight that I have ever seen. It's the blue, it's the blue sea of eyebrows. And it happens when the orange beat the green. And it happens when the orange beat the green.
While you are sitting listening on your own, why not take part and give us a phone? We would love to hear your points of view, so get off your bum and call 0141 356 1972.
Thanks for that, Fox. Right. Danny Rowe mentioned it, AK Southside, in his press conference. He was asked about a question about Old Firm decisions, particularly the equaliser. It was clearly offside, in my opinion, and the Alistair Johnston non-red card, which in my opinion again is a red card. Tonight, the KMI panel have decided, and you might be surprised at this, both decisions made on field to award a goal and not to send off Alistair Johnston were the correct decision. AK.
Here's my response to that. Typical. In my opinion, open corruption is going on before our eyes, and they're marking their own homework to make themselves look vindicated for making the decisions on the park. That's all that is. How can they say that that guy's no offside? In fact, 3 of them are offside, but the one is standing right in front of Jack Butland. We got a goal denied at Dundee, and I think it was Diamondi is he's not even within 5-10 yards, I don't think, of their keeper. But they said that he was in the eye line of the goalkeeper, because if he saved it, it could have caused his reaction and blah, blah, blah. So that guy's nearly standing on Jack Butland's toes, and they deem him not to be interfering with play. Pathetic, mate. And as far as the challenge with Alistair Johnson on Mikey Moore, that's a shocker. That is a shocker. I didn't think much of it at first, mate, to be honest with you. I thought it was a good, strong, hard challenge for them, because we've seen them plenty of times over the years where our players have made them. You're like, yes, get in there. But see, when you see it again, there was intent, there was malice in that, and he meant to do Mikey Moore. He caught him just above the ankle in the follow through, and even after he caught Mikey Moore, his leg extended beyond, so that shows me there was intent there as well. That's 100% a red card.
Southside, you surprised by that?
Aye, I'm surprised, but my panel's been up and down all season with some of the decisions. Some have been right and I've agreed with them, and some I haven't. And I've sort of heard, I've not heard every single one every week, but I've heard them over the season, come out with some of the replies, and some have agreed with and some I haven't. So I'm surprised. I think, listen, football's changed. Alistair Johnston's tackle, you would have got away with it years ago, but now you don't get away with tackles like that. The boy McGrath didn't get away with it the week before, playing for Hibs against them. It got reviewed and he got a red card. He was just slightly late. Probably didn't mean it, but he caught him sort of on the ankle. And nowadays that you get sent off for it. Days gone by, you probably wouldn't have got a red card for things like that. But the fact he sort of lunged off the ground and all into the tackle, I thought at the game at the time, I just thought it looked similar to what Chamiti had done. And Chamiti had got a yellow card for his first or second tackle in the game. So I was surprised. And it looked similar to that, but then obviously once you see it later, you see he was after the run as he dived in. The goal at the time, at the game, I thought would probably have been chopped off, because I think there was players in the view of Butland, although the goal went into the left of him, similar to the one at Dundee when Mikey Moore scored and Diamondi let it get through his legs. He wasn't in line with the goalkeeper. It was away for the goalkeeper. There was nobody really blocking his view, but they chopped it off and said it was up to the referee's discretion, and they went to the monitor and they chopped it off. So looking at that one and that one, I thought it was similar. But when it went to VAR, I didn't expect it to be chopped off, to be perfectly honest, when we were up there last week. I didn't expect it at all. I thought they would probably get it when they did. But again, my panel, some of the things, like I say, I've agreed with and some I haven't, Robert.
This round of reviews they've done is obviously from the fixtures of the weekend gone by. They've not done any for the midweek games, which has obviously become a huge talking point across world football. But I think we've been joined by old Davy. Evening, David.
Well, listen, old Davy. It's Davy.
How you doing, pal?
Hello, young David.
Good. How you doing? How you doing, Susie? And evening to all the guys on the old YouTube channel as well. Brilliant. Can I just a wee question I'd like to ask you guys? Of all the players in the current squad, what ones has been signed by Danny Rowe?
Chukwueze, Romans, and Nadiri.
Right.
Scott Wilson.
Right. Now, the next question I'm going to ask you is, if you look at who he's brought in, do you have confidence that he can get in the right players if he is still there next year? On the assumption of what you're looking at now?
Well, if we take the three permanent signings, David, Scott Wilson's obviously a loan signing, and I think we can all agree that that's been a massive flop. But if we take your 3 permanent signings, Romans, Chukwani, Nadiri, I'll give you my thoughts and then I'll go to AK, then Southside. For me, I think it's been highlighted how much we've missed Romans and Nadiri. Nadiri's not that out-and-out goal scorer, but what he does bring to that forward line is a bit of link-up play, hold-up, something in between the midfield and the forward in Chermiti that we've lacked. I think his numbers have shown that. I think he can add goals to his game, certainly, but I think he's been brought in more as a playmaker around Chermiti, linking up. Romans, I think, shows a lot of good assets. He's got a good engine on him. Defensively, he looks quite assured. He's been a bit kind of ring rusty since he's come back from his injury that he had. But up until that point, you could see the ability he's got. And Chukwani's certainly a physical presence in the midfield. He's quite calm in the ball. He's had a few shaky moments, but I think in a full season, with other players around him, better players around him, I think he can be quite a good asset.
Yeah.
So I would say, based on the 3 profiles, I would say that there's certainly a physical side of the squad that Danny Rowe wants to build. I think that's kind of what he's looking at going forward. And I think a lot of people have come on this show and touched on the lack of physicality that we had in the squad of past seasons. And that's certainly something that he's trying to identify and rectify. AK, then Southside.
Aye, good evening, young David.
Thank you, young Alex.
Listen, reiterate what Rob's saying. I've got similar thoughts. I think Robbins is an excellent addition, but he's only an excellent addition when he's on the park. When he's on the park, he's a Rolls Royce player. But we need to keep him fit. We can't afford him to be like another Sterling or another what do you call it, the wee guy, Yilmaz, Turkey. He missed a hell of a lot of games, so they need to be out on the park as much as possible. They're all 6 foot. Chukwani is a big, physical presence in the middle of the park. He's outnumbered a lot of times, Davey, for me. Raskin just wanders and Diamondi wanders and whoever's in that midfield with him. I thought young Barron might suit him better as a partner in there if they're looking for 2 sitters in there. Because the wee man, he's always busy. He's always busy. You're shutting down players, shutting down space, collecting the ball, and trying to get the team moving forward. But I think Chukwani's got assets there that we didn't have before. He scored goals as well. He's a physical presence, and we've seen him up close when we played against Sturm Graz. So he's got potential. Romans is definitely got potential, and I like the look in Nadiri. I know he's a striker in the level of football. You could question where he's came from. The 3rd division in Germany, but that doesn't mean to say that they're bad players at the 3rd division in Germany. You just need to look at the likes of Jamie Vardy, going all the way up to the English top level and improving himself. But his work rate I really like. But strikers are based on goals, so he needs to add that. Maybe the injury or whatever before they came, that might be hampering him a wee bit. So if he gets a good pre-season under his belt, I think he'll be a really good player because he shows a good attitude, David.
Yeah, I'll say that.
Southside.
See, talking about attitude, seeing your captain of your club decides not to make himself available on Wednesday night to turn out for Glasgow Rangers, that's when it shows you his attitude's wrong. I see some people maybe in comments think he's got a right hang and blame Tav for everything. I don't blame Tav for everything. Tav was a great servant for Rangers Football Club, but Tav's done. I mean, Tav decides to put himself before Rangers Football Club, then he's no for me anymore. And there's many players in that squad have done it in all this season. That's why there'll nobody there coming summer. And hopefully we'll get a squad of players in that will want to fight and play for the club, and their attitude will be different. Sterling mentioned it, and Mikey Moore just mentioned in his interview today regarding attitude and application, fighting for each other. But our captain chose on Wednesday night to put himself before Glasgow Rangers Football Club, same as he chose to put a statement out there about himself leaving the club when the club knew nothing about it, because that's what he wanted to do. So Tav decided to think he was bigger than Glasgow Rangers Football Club. If he's there on Saturday tomorrow, I'll applaud him for what he's done for our football club. But his attitude on Wednesday night was stinking. So maybe some people should maybe remember that and listen to the comments that we're actually saying. My comments were the players were rotten. Nobody in my head in the sand. The players were rotten. The players didn't turn up and perform for full 90 minutes. We did dominate a lot of the game without penetrating Hibs, but maybe some people should just listen to the comments. Anyway, what were you saying, Robert?
David's question was based on Roll's signings. Would you be happy?
Aye, Nadiri Romans, I think, has been decent. I think he's a decent sort of upgrade on what we had. I think going forward in time, I think he'll become a decent sort of left back. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. I think he's a good addition. Nadiri, I think, can still score goals. I think sometimes maybe if he'd been on the park and some of the chances had fell in Nadiri than Chamiti at times, he might have scored in certain situations. I'm thinking along the lines. I think he does need to add, but he does a lot of running off the ball. He works hard. But at the end of the day, if you're playing up front, you're judged probably on how many goals that you score. But at the end of the day, I think he's been a decent sort of signing. I think maybe next season he'll improve. I think he probably came with a lack of fitness for playing in the German league. And I think that's why he probably picked up injuries, because he wasn't up to fitness and he was doing a lot of running and a lot of off the ball stuff. Chukwani, I think, probably will, when he's got maybe a player, he's got the physicality. I think probably once he's got players round about him that don't want to go and do what they want to do themselves, like Raskin, trapping deep, taking balls off centre halves and then leaving him exposed in the middle of the park at times. I think when she's got a settled midfield, I think Chukwani in time, I think probably will become a decent player as well. So I think the three additions was what we were looking for. Bit of pace on the wing, maybe decent defending, somebody could go forward with good delivery on the left, bit of presence in the middle of the park, bit of muscle in the middle of the park. He's not been great in every game. There's been some games he's been a wee bit poor, but I think going forward and like giving him a chance to settle down, I think he'll probably become a good player. The only disappointment I think for us all at the fore has been Skov Olsen. Yeah, a lot of us, when we heard his name getting mentioned, were quite excited about him starting and coming into the team. But for me, he's not done enough, anywhere near enough. And I don't think we'll probably take up and pay the money. But Cavan, I said he was building a squad. It probably wasn't for this season when they brought in Danny Rowe. He's building a squad to try and get sustained success. So these three players have been brought in and signed. Skov Olsen we'll see what he does, but I don't think we'll take up that option. If it's going to be £8 or £9 million, then I don't see it. I don't think we'll pay that amount of money. I think there's other players out there that we could probably go for if we're going to be looking to spend that type of money and try and get them to the club. But it'll be interesting to see. Kavanagh's got the decision to make. He's got to make sure that the funds are available, and I think there's players there. If Raskin has a good World Cup, then I think he's easily sold, and I think he will be sold regardless. I think, same with Gasmara, although he's a young player, he's raw, he's a winger, they all blow hot and cold, but I would probably punt him. I think if you could get 10, 12, £15 million from him, if the interest is there in him, it was there in January, I would probably use it and recycle him. But up to the manager and up to the coaching staff round about to see. But there is players there. Fernandez is another one. If the money's right, then he could be another one that could go for us to try and recycle the money. So we've got decent money in there to rebuild certain positions that needs to be filled. Because at the moment we only have three defenders on our books, maybe four probably counting Sterling, but he's not fit all the time. You've got Suter, you've got Romans, and you've got Fernandez. That's all we've got at the moment at the back. So whether we keep the three of them going forward like Raskin and I don't see Raskin being part of Glasgow Rangers Football Club after the summer, Robert.
I think you won't be alone in that thought, mate, as well. A lot of financial and economical sense from that kind of move. But David, what's your thoughts on it, mate? You asked the question, we've answered. What's your thoughts now?
It's a hard one to call. I still think there's been a bit of infighting within the squad because the way they came back from Spain, there's been something festering there because that they just don't turn up like that and then start playing that type of game. But that's not the point. The point is that we've got to just take it. I still think there's still some twists and turns coming with whether Roll will still be there or no. I don't think we're fully getting even what he's telling you. It cannot change. So we've just got to wait and see now, and hopefully, to me, if you give a guy a chance, you're taking a chance. That's all I can say. I don't think we're in a position where we now could say, let's take a chance. This is good. Many times have we said, this one's got to be right this time. But that's what happened. But time will tell on it. I couldn't tell you really, Robert, what the outcome's going to be.
David can. When you go, Wiki.
Rob, I was just going to say to David, right, I get where you're coming from, but how many times have we seen this movie before when the players decide that they're the down tools, they don't like the manager?
Yeah.
You know, we got a run of poor performances, we got a run of poor results just to oust the manager out. And then we start over again, we get a wee bounce in when we get a new manager, and then they decide they don't like him. It's happened with Gio, with Beale, with Clement, with Barry Ferguson, with Russell Martin, and now it's happening with Danny Rowe. You know, they players down tools and don't play to the way that the manager's instructing them to play. There's no hell of a lot a manager can do, David. So we need to root the root cause of that dressing room, whatever the problem is, that needs to get eradicated once and for all, because it's obviously been a problem for X amount of years, and it only seems to have been a problem for me since Gerrard departed, and it's been the same ongoing issues. We've got a squad of players there that are getting paid plenty compared to other squads in the Scotland. You know, so we shouldn't be struggling to win a cup. We shouldn't be finishing third. It does happen, but see, because you don't show the right attitude and application, you've got to go nowhere. So that needs to get fixed. And to go back to your initial point as well, I don't think Spain was the issue. It was what happened after it. Tavernier done an interview with Sky Sports with Gordon Duncan, and he asked him about what the training camp, and everything was fine, and we're looking forward to the Motherwell game, and we're focused on the next game, we're focused on winning the league. He spoke about, my wife's talking about a holiday, I don't want to know. And then less than 24 hours, he comes out with a statement to say he's leaving the club. That's him done.
Yeah.
That's where the problem lies, Davey.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I agree with that. That's what I'm trying to say. That's where things have went a wee bit. I wasn't going to say. I was going to say something. I got a yellow card, maybe even a red one. But no, it's. I don't know. I'm stuck between the river and the deep blue sea here with him, because I don't know if we can trust him to. Obviously, I agree with you what you're saying about this chopping and changing. But we need. I'm going to go back to where we said he's only been an assistant coach. I'm not shouting for change. But we need a proper manager, a proven manager with a name, and who can basically, you can tell by the tone of his speaking, know what he's all about. And I just don't get that for Rowe. I just don't get that for him.
Southside.
I've talked about it quite a lot, Davey. We probably need somebody in the mould like Walter. No, a man's manager. Players would play from. They understood him. He knew what the club was about. But you're going back all the time, Davey. Giovanni knew what the club was about, and he get chased out the door with the support at the end. And that's what we've done. It's rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Don't know if Danny Rowe comes across with a lot of authority and all that. I don't know. I just know he's only been in the job 8 months, and he was brought in. He steadied the ship. He was brought in to look at the squad, assess it. He was told that we would get some players in January, and we got ourselves back in to a league winning position. Probably earlier than what we thought or what the board thought. And then it comes down to maybe a mistake here or there by Danny Rowe at times and the players. And it's the players' attitude. And it's been questioned, and you've heard certain players talk about it in the last couple of weeks. Romans was out and asked about it. He mentioned it. Sterling said it in the past. Mikey Moore's talking about it today or yesterday. So it's been mentioned, and then you look at the attitude of our captain, who should know better and been here a long, long time.
Yeah,
but
sorry for interrupting.
I mean, we've had it in the past. Listen, he's not the only one. Iggyman refused to play. Iggyman refused to play when he was wanting to engineer his move. He didn't want to play. Turned up 3 stone overweight, 2 stone overweight or something when he come back. And then he engineered the move. Players have done it. It's not the only one. But listen, if we do the rinse and repeat, then what happens? You bring somebody else in, and then it goes Pete Tong a good few months down the line, and then it'll be, he needs to go and all. And that'll be another rinse and repeat job. So I know he's hanging by a thread by a lot of the support. I know if you stick by him and you let them buy the players, and you get rid of some of the players in there that might be bad apples or no good enough for the club, I would get rid of Jack Butland and all. He'd be another one that'd be on my list to go in. He's only got one year left. All these players that were head of the committee were all senior players, but I just don't get down this road with this carry on. But listen, if we don't start well and things don't start well for Danny Rowe, it'll be the same. He'll get the bullet halfway through the season. We'll have got players in the summer. Then you're asking another manager again to come back in and work with these players. And then he'll think, I don't really want some of these players. I want my own players. What you've got to remember, Davey, in all the time that it took us to get the league, we gave Steven Gerrard 3 years. We let him make mistakes. We let him build a team. He won his 1 trophy out of 9. It was the one we wanted, but he won 1 out of 9. And Gerrard commanded respect. Gerrard had the authority, but he was still a rookie manager. But he built a decent backroom team round about him to help him. Yeah, and he was the guy who walked in the dressing room and they all went, wow, Stevie G. No, a guy that's a winner, that was brought up in winning, demanded to win, had that attitude to win. And I get all that. But bringing them back, if you brought them back, is it going to work the second time? Nobody else has actually went for him out there in Britain at all. Nobody else has took a chance on him since he's come back. Nobody else has really went, go for Stevie G. He'll be the guy that'll turn our team to our club round. And if Stevie G took the job, Liverpool came calling for him and asked him, he'd be out that door in 2 minutes and up the road to Anfield. People got to remember that. Stevie G wouldn't show you loyalty. If Liverpool came calling for him at some point, he'd be right out that door. Where he was 6 months in the job, or a year in the job, 2 years in the job. But I get what he brought, and I like what he brought. And we were the fittest team. It's the fittest I've ever seen a squad of players under Steven Gerrard. And I get what he brought, Davey, but...
Can I come in on that, Suicide? The certain managers that you mentioned there, I totally agree with you 100%. But most of these guys never get any money. Not saying any money, but they didn't get the finances that we should be capable of getting now. That's what my problem is with Danny Rowe. Is he going to be trustworthy if they're going to give him the investment? Because all the other managers didn't get the investment.
It's a good point you make. It's a good point you make, David, because obviously the board have changed and the finances have changed, and you're right to highlight it. A lot of the recruitment boiled down to the finances that were available at the time, and it's no secret we've spent more than we've probably spent in a good number of years, maybe the most we've ever spent, and we've got nothing to show for it at the end of the season. So I can understand the frustration there. The devil advocate is if you pop Danny Rowe out the door and you bring somebody else in, and it's not a a McInnes or a Gerrard, the same question applies. Do you trust them with the money? Michael Beale get 25 million, and arguably he should have never got the job in the first place either. So you don't know who's going to walk in that door. It's always a gamble. Whether it's a player or manager, nothing's guaranteed until they're in the door.
I agree with that, Rob.
And we've mentioned one player tonight quite a bit in what he said during his interview today. It was Mikey Moore. Fox has got that teed up for us. We'll hear what Mikey Moore's got to say, because you said it, Davey, in-house fighting or anything at all. And we might get a player insight to what it's actually like in that dressing room. So let's hear Mikey Moore.
Mikey, your final match for Rangers tomorrow, how are you feeling ahead of it?
Yeah, mixed emotions for the game really, because obviously it's not the way we wanted to end it, but yeah, I'm looking forward to playing my last game.
Just how tough have the last few weeks been? Because there would have been so many highs this season after the manager had come in, got yourselves into a really good position. Is it quite tough to take just how it's developed over the last few weeks?
Yeah, it's gutting, to be honest, the way it's ended. I don't think any of us 3 weeks got expected to be in a position we're in, but it's our fault, and we need to take that. So we need to go and show a good account of ourselves and try and bounce back. But we've said that already, but that's all we can do now. But obviously it's been gutting the way it's went.
Michael, obviously the talk before the game was about James saying his farewell to Ibrox, but I suppose that was also your chance to say goodbye to the stadium, to the fans. Just how deflating was it when you look around as you're walking off, and obviously the way the game pans out, you're walking in the places half empty, the fans are already sort of made their way for the exits. I mean, that must have been hard for you.
Yeah, for me, I've got so much love for everyone. I understand it, to be honest. I understand the position we're in, and we're losing again at that point in the game. So I understand why people ain't in the stadium, and they're not just gonna hang about for me because they're disappointed of the results and the way the last few weeks have been. So I think I know, and I understand the way people feel, and respect what I've tried to give my all for the club. So. Yeah, I understand that, and obviously it's not the way we wanted it to end, but we've still, I think, got love for each other.
There'll obviously be a lot of discussion about your future, will you be back or not, but regardless of that, how will you view your time at this club, and how important has it been for whatever comes next in your career?
Yeah, no matter what happens now, this club's been a huge part of what I'm going to become, and it's helped me so much. So for me, no matter what happens, I'm a fan of this club for the rest of my life now. So it's been a special experience.
What's been the biggest thing that you've taken from this season, and what's been the biggest learning point for you?
I think mentally I've just changed so much as a person, the way I look at stuff now. I think I've realised that every day means something. So before, maybe I'd have days where I was a bit switched off, and I'd come into training and I'm kind of not on it as much as I need to be. But if you wanna go and win every single game, that's the way we need to be. And I think as a team, we need to learn that as well. So we need to realise that every day means something, and it's a chance to improve. So for me, that's been the biggest learning point for me.
Do you take it as a bit of a badge of honour, a bit of pride that the fans see you as someone that does get it, that does understand it, that does have that mentality to be here, where it's been questioned in others, it's not really been questioned in you over the course of this season?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's what you need, people to think of you, that you're going out there and giving your all. And even if I've had many days this year where I've not been good enough, and I've not showed enough, but I think I've shown that I'm still trying, and I'm trying to give my all. So it's nice to have that respect. But obviously, the gutting thing is that we don't have that as a team to really to make your mark. Because I think people remember winning titles, not just individuals. So that's the disappointing thing for me.
Mikey, whether you come back here or not in the future, have you seen enough in this time that makes you think Rangers as a club can be successful in the next few years?
100%. The backing what this club has, and the base what it has, it's got potential to go and be what it should be and where it has been before in the past. I think, and I think it will get there. But there needs to be a few changes.
mentally within the squad, and I think we need to realise the club that we're playing at and where this club needs to be and how we need to perform in games and approach games in certain situations. So I think there needs, obviously, as we know, there needs to be small changes, but I think there's a base there to really go and make a mark. Obviously, we need to in the league as a club and European.
Thanks for that, Fox. AK, you mentioned it earlier on. A lot of the experienced players within their squad could learn a lot from that. And I've got to be honest, for an 18-year-old, he speaks with a lot of maturity, speaks a lot of sense. And I think that was very much a home truth from a player's insight to what's actually in the club.
Yep, well said. And well said, Mikey Moore. It just gives you a wee insight into how he actually sees things about the club. He obviously, the surrounds of the club, the platforms there, the stages there, everything is great about the club apart from the team performance on the back and on the park. The results, and obviously finishing the season trophyless again is not good enough for this club. We always going about maintaining standards and this and that. Well, it's about time. Actions speak louder than words, and it's about time that these players get stopped playing for themselves and realise that the club that they're at. So if they don't want to go on that journey, then they should be cut loose and let's start again. And I mean a real wipeout. I agree with Southside. I think Butland, your leadership group, Taverniers away, Raskin should be away now. I know Suter. Just weed out all the ones that's dragging everybody down, and all the ones that are not good enough. Your Askars, your Gasamas, your Antmans, whoever you're looking at. It's going to take. I mean, people are saying 12. I think last year we had a turnover of about 34 players, between 18 out and 16 in, roughly round about that. It's going to take that magnitude to try and get it right again, Rob. But it's recruitment is a necessity this year, and whether Danny Roll's the man that's leading us into next season, that's purely down to Andrew Kavanagh. So as I said earlier, Southside Dave, I don't know if you caught it. I think it'd be good to hear from our owner and what the strategy is, what he thinks is went wrong, and how they're going to correct it, because they have made mistakes, but this is a new environment for them. And so they're going to learn from the mistakes and give a reason to believe in Danny Rowe, because at the moment, there's for what I see, the forums and all that, there's a good 80% plus that don't want to go forward with Danny Rowe. So he needs to come out there and state why he's backing his man, because at the moment, the knives are out for Danny Rowe, and it's unfair on the young guy, because he's dealing with a lot, and we've seen that placed at the foot of Michael Beale's door and Clement's door and Gio's door, and it's unfair to get all that pressure landed at you.
Davey, your thoughts on Mikey Moore's words there?
Aye, okay, the boys well about. I mean, you just need to look what he puts into a game. If half of them could put even just half an hour of what that boy puts in when his own song, but they can't do it. They can't do it. I've supported Rangers for over 60 odd years. I've been very fortunate to see them winning trebles. I went to see them win the Barcelona Cup. I feel sorry for the modern Rangers supporters, because what they're getting to see the new from some of these players, effort-wise, talent-wise, is shocking. And that's got to change. And that can only change for the top and get that sorted out. But that boy just summed up what a lot of Rangers players haven't got.
Southside, there's a quote in there that stood out for me. People remember winning titles, not just individuals. That is a very, very true statement from a young lad.
Aye, it's a young boy, and he's come out and said what he said, because he obviously believes in what he's been asked, and he's gave a truthful answer. I've heard it for Sterling before and on in the past. There's players in there don't believe they can win a title, and I don't believe whatever he said. I can't remember, but the words came out, and Clement had to come out and bat it down because he obviously annoyed people in the dressing room because people don't want to hear the truth. But aye, it's I think you said they've not been pulling in the same direction at times, no fighting for each other at the same times and that, and a wee bit infighting maybe and accusing people. See, they're sticking together. But I've felt that for a while with the squad. You're right, we've got young players in the team. Some of them might be better the following season for the experience of being at the club and coming and having the pressure put on them. And Mikey Moore had the pressure put on him, and there was a lot of people out there at the start of the season were saying time for him to go. He's a young boy. The club's too big for him. He's like a wee boy out there trying to play. And then Danny Rowles managed to change him and get the best out of him. And he's been putting in some good performances. One or two has not been great. But at the end of the day, he's a young boy. He's only turned 18. He's got bags of potential, bags of skill. He will go on and be a top player. And I did say I didn't think we'd get him back next season. We might, but I don't think we will, to be honest. I would like him to come back for another season, but I just don't see it. And hopefully we'll go out and we'll unearth some other players. And in fairness, our under-19s team have just won the league the night as well, the day they won it. So we might be able to unearth maybe a couple of them or one or two of that squad that might be able to come in and try and make a name for themselves like Mikey Moore's done this season, mate.
Aye, well done to the young guys that have won it today. I think it was a 90th minute free kick by Zebedee Lawson, who's obviously had some first team action. But we know there's been talks about Luca Rankin, Kyle Glasgow, and the boy Scally, the left back. So there's certainly some promising players. That's whether we bring them through and give them that opportunity. So listen, it's going to be that highlight tonight, slightly later than usual. He's been building it up because you're on a roll, Southside, would you say?
161 last week, wasn't it?
I know. I had to double check it, mate. I did 2 or 3 times.
I know used to were slaughtering me. I heard a wee snippet. Used to were slaughtering me last week in the Friday night show. Used to.
Oh no, it's
you and
no,
that AK. Yous were getting it a bit of verbal. I heard. I don't think Ox got it on, actually. I don't think Ox managed to do it, which is always gives me good fun and laughter that he missed it. But I think the week before, was it the week before? I think we done them. I think we done the bookies for just under 600 quid. So it's been a good couple of weeks, must admit.
I'm still £2,000 down.
You better go back to work then and get some wages in your pocket.
Ditto.
Well, just before we hear your Super 6 selections, mate, just want to let everybody know we're going to have an extended show tonight as the last Friday night show of the season. So we're going to have a wee bit of extra time for you out there that's listening in. But without any further ado, let's have the Super 6.
Welcome to Southside Super 6. And get ready for your weekend's fix. He finds it hard to get them right, 'cause most of the time they are shy.
Hi, welcome to Southside Super 6. The selections this weekend are based on Saturday and Sunday due to the fixtures. So the first selection this weekend, believe it or not, is Rangers to beat Falkirk away from home. The second selection is Manchester United to beat Nottingham Forest. The third selection is Kilmarnock to beat Livingston away from home. The fourth selection is Dundee to beat Aberdeen. The fifth selection is Everton to beat Sunderland. And the sixth selection is Newcastle to beat West Ham. If you take all 6 between the Saturday and the Sunday, it pays 57.5 to 1.
Well, you have just heard this week's picks are run out and bet like dicks. The sane amongst you will give it a miss, 'cause for years he has just been taking the piss.
Only 57.5 this week.
Listen, I was going to take Hearts, right? But the way it goes in Scotland with the referees and stuff, you know yourself, the Hearts are going to be up against it tomorrow. But I took them at 41. But you know what's coming tomorrow, you know, so you've seen it happen during the week and happened to Hearts the week before. And even some of the decisions that they got in last Sunday. So Hearts are up against it, aren't they? You know, so I'd like to have took them, but I've just got a feeling that they're all out. They've got Clancy on VAR and they're putting Don Robertson against them. So you know what it's like. But hopefully Hearts will do it tomorrow. But I would have took them, but I just think everything's stacked for that mob and the way the carry on's been going on. I don't fancy Hearts' chances. I think Frank Connell might even be running the line. He was running the line last week, him or not? So he was. That was him that couldn't put his flag up. So, nah, I would have put Hearts in at 41. That would have boosted it, Robert. But you know what it's like up here. It's all stacked against them tomorrow.
Well, good luck, teammate, and good luck to anybody else that plays it. It's the final Super 6 of the season, so get your cash on it and do it responsibly, and best of luck to you.
Cheers, and hopefully somebody was on last week and got it in and got some cash out it.
Well, I know a few people, mate, that might have used a certain bet provider and had a function they could freeze a bet to get some money. So if you do that, then even better.
Always comes in handy.
It does indeed, mate. It does indeed. It's also been mentioned, Davey, the past few days, the word change has came around quite a lot. Now, whether that's going to be a managerial change, one thing we do know is the players will certainly change. There's players out of contract this season. We obviously know Tavernier is out of contract. He's obviously leaving the club. There's others within that. Liam Kelly's out of contract. Leon King, who's out on loan at Ayr, picked up all the awards for Player of the Year at Ayr United. He's out of contract. Ben Davis out of contract. Bailey Rice out of contract. Players returning from loan as well. AK touched on it. There's going to be an overhaul of this squad yet again, mate.
Was that for me?
Yes, Davey. Sorry.
Aye, you're spot on, Robert. Yeah, you're correct, but it's everything's just into the you don't know what's going to happen scenario. So you just need to hang fire. I just want to get some people that want to play for that shirt. And to me, this season, I think one of the biggest disappointments, and we've had many in the past, too many, was we got so close this year from being so bad. We were in touching distance. And then, that's how I've been listening, but I've been just so depressed to come on and try and talk about it. That the response for these 5 cup finals was unbelievable. You couldn't make it up. So we've just got to dust ourselves down, see what happens, and march on. As we're Rangers, we don't surrender to anybody. And Lennon's Monkey Mob get beat by Switzerland night.
AK, there is going to be a lot of change in the summer with personnel. If you look at the squad by positions, mate, we can run through it. Obviously, we've got an extended show tonight, so we've got some time to look at it and see where we're at, where we could be, and where we think needs to strengthen. But if you look at the goalkeepers, first of all, Jack Butland, he's in his final year of his contract coming up, so he'll finish up season 26-27. Liam Kelly out of contract this summer. You've got youngsters Kieran Wright, Ryden Maguire, and Mason Munn return from loan. You looking in that position, mate? I think you've sort of said we need a goalkeeper, but are you taking anybody else there on loan? Are you keeping? What are you doing?
Southside touched on it earlier, and I think I said myself that Jack Butland's part of your leadership group. I'd be looking to get rid of him. I don't think he's been particularly great. I think he's on a quite a high wage. and I think he's just one of the guys that carry mental baggage, just with mistakes. Most of his career he's been number 2 at clubs, prominent clubs, Man United, Crystal Palace. He was there for a spell. He had a touch in England, but he doesn't have the mental strength, I think, to be that number 1 that they were looking for. I thought Alan McGregor's, they're big gloves to fill, but Alan McGregor shows a mental strength and an ability that Jack Butland doesn't possess. A defence has got to have confidence in their goalkeeper behind them, and I think there's a lot of young guys there, so he needs to be stronger in his leadership. He might be fine in front of cameras, he might be fine in the dressing room, but when he's out in the park, he's not a leader for me. So I think we have to look at that. I don't know who's available, but I think you really need the basis of a strong goalkeeper. Look at the difference it's made with Arsenal and even Man United. Liverpool have had strong keepers. Our greatest teams have always had strong goalkeepers, and I don't think Jack Butland's particularly reliable to go forward.
Would you keep him as a number 2 and let Kelly leave, or would you give Kelly a contract?
Well, he's not going to be high maintenance. That's the thing with Liam Kelly. He's never going to be a number 1. He's an understudy, so you need a decent understudy there. I don't see him as a number 1, but because he's low wage, I think another year might buy Danny Rowe time to then look at the position again. But he really needs to go out and get somebody that he can trust, somebody that he's worked with before or seen before or done a lot of due diligence on keepers. They come with personalities, their own personalities, but they've got to be strong for ability, reliability, and big moments. And I don't think Jack Butland ticks a lot of their boxes now.
Southside yourself, in a goalkeeping front, you've got Butland, Kelly, Wright, Maguire and Munn. Kelly out of contract right now.
Mason Munn's about the only one I think will probably keep. Kieran Wright's been there for a while. He's 24, nearly 25. There's very, very limited chances. He's been on the bench a few times, but I think he'll probably move out. Somebody might come in for him. But I don't see his keeping them. Munn's the one's probably got a good chance. And I'd like to think, given time, that you'll get a chance or progress to be number 2. Butland, I think, will go in the summer. I don't think we'll keep him with a year left. I think we're quite keen on the goalkeeper, possibly for Sheffield Wednesday. Travis, I think it is, isn't it, or something. There's a good chance that their goalkeeping coach has worked with him. So I think he'll have an influence in things that might happen in the summer. Jack Butland was decent in Europe at the start of the season, don't get me wrong. He kept us in a lot of the games. He had some really outstanding saves, especially that night we were in Bruges. I know he lost 6, but it could have been a lot more if it hadn't been for Butland that night. That was a hard watch that night. But he's prone to the odd mistakes. He's prone to fumbling the ball. He's just he'll go down and listen, Jack Butland will go to England and he'll go on the bench for somebody. He'll be second or third choice, and he'll no bat an eyelid about it. But there's no danger, I think, he'd want to sit here and be a number 2 at Rangers. I just don't see it. And I think probably to move him on in the summer would be a better move and bring a fresh goalkeeper up. Somebody that maybe the goalkeeping coach has worked with, trusts, knows that he could come in and do a job. Maybe even a goalkeeper Danny Rowe knows about. And also I'd promote Mason Munn into the number 2 position or 3rd position, but he's young, and McGregor didn't get into the first team until he was nearly 25, if you remember. But things move on, and Mason Munn's got the potential, he's got the ability, he's strong. I've watched him in the B team when the B team was going. I think we had him on loan to Dunfermline for a while, and then I don't know where he went after that. But I know he was at Dunfermline. So I'd be looking to promote him out the goalkeepers that we've got left, if I'm honest, Robert.
All right, mate, we'll come back to the squad. We'll go through the kind of position by position and get your thoughts on it. But I think we've been joined by Tosh. Evening, Tosh.
How you doing, lads? You all right?
Aye, not bad, mate. The finishing line's in sight.
I've got a couple of pointers to put across to you. Reggie's right. I think the owners are trying to keep the preparations for the game on Saturday and tomorrow as comfortable as possible because of all the carnage and what's going on. I think between Saturday tea time and Monday it'll end up coming through. No, he's been sacked or resigned. It'll say Danny Rowe has been relieved of his duties as Rangers head coach.
So you think it's been discussed and they're just letting the game
I
play
do.
out and then there'll be an announcement?
Yeah, keeping it as smooth as possible. You know what I mean? Because the fans must be at boiling point for the Motherwell game.
All right, mate. I'll take it round.
I've got a couple of points. I'm just saying, it's pure devastation. Again, we're the ones that's getting put through it.
No, we'll take that point first, mate, and then we'll get the rest of your points just so the guys can get a say in your first point, mate. And that way we don't miss any. We can hear the rest of your thoughts as well, pal. AK.
Aye, mate. Evening, Tosh. I don't know. It might happen. I've heard some whispers that there's something kind of in the background there because listening to, I think it was Rangers Review actually, or Stevie Clifford and four lads, he did say that the full American entourage was in Scotland this week to take in the game during the week and obviously take in the game at the weekend. So they might be at that point now where we carry on with another manager, or they might all be in there to agree where we go in the future. But whatever they decide, Tosh, that's what happens. That's you know, they put a lot of money in there, you know, so they want a return for their investment. They'll not be happy with what they're seeing this year. Definitely not winning any trophies. But whatever they decide, if they decide to back Danny Rowe and go forward with him and have a clear out with him, then that's how I'm saying earlier on. I don't know if you heard me, that I would like to hear owner. You know, so I want clarification as well as you, but whatever they decide, that's it. The support we just need to go with it, whether we like that or whether we don't. You know, we gave up I say in the club when we forced out John Gilligan, John Bennett and Douglas Park. You know, they were fans of the club, but we decided that we didn't want them anymore. So they'll go to these new owners and it's them that's calling the shots whether we like it or whether we don't.
My worry is they stick with him. The pre-season friendlies are the same sort of feeling about them as the last 5 games. And then the start of the season, if we don't get after a good start, you think what happened with Russell Martin was that'll be nothing. I can tell with the boys I spoke to him, no, everybody's at boiling point. They're just ready to go boom. The Celtic game I think was a tipping point. Just got a decision, and you turned it. Romans, the only one backing them up was Mikey Moore. Where was the captain? Where was everybody else? An old firm game, get right in, stuck. Doesn't matter if you get sent out. Boom. You're sticking your players up, still up to your players. Nah, nothing. I said to see this last year. That team, I think it was under Gio, they get beat 4-0 at Park Feed, and the American players were out 2 years later with American Celtic players having dinner. Imagine that was Ian Ferguson or Barry Ferguson or McCall or John Brown. They'd have got leathers, and we've got to put up with this. And they're jinxed again, mate. We're jinxed. They went away to Dubai, came back, bang, all went tits up. They went away this time, came back. My mate says, and he goes, we're jinxed. He said, you watch. And he said, everything's happened. He said, I said, you should have put an F and 10 on that. So everything, they stick with him, and it goes a wee bit pear-shaped. Oh, I don't know.
Tosh, what do you think
sorry, mate, I'm at the point. There's nothing else for us to say, is there? We're all that angry. You just got to, like you're saying, Eric is saying, you've got to grin and bear it. If they stick with him, we've got to go with it. But if it goes tits up, God help him.
Tosh, just what you're saying there about when we went under different managers to training camps, when we were close in a title race, we came back and we failed. And it's the same again this season. It's obviously under different managers. Why is that?
I don't get it, I know.
Reason?
I don't know, it's like a curse, it's like a jinx. Every time they go away and they come back, they're different.
It can't be down to Danny Rule the last time because he wasn't there. Danny Rule obviously gets it this time, he's under fire, but the players, a lot of them.
I know. My mate says we're the Scottish Man United. all the players gang up. They don't like him, Mark. We'll just get rid of him. Leicester as well, when they get rid of what's his name, Ranieri. Just won the Premiership and they all gang up and get rid of him. I say to myself, that's sick. That's just pure mental. See, all the wages the players are on, and they all just gang up and let's them involved in their tits for tat in the dressing room. Oh, it's honestly, they don't care less as long as they get their money. They're 30 grand, they're 20 grand a week playing for Rangers. They don't care less. Look at that. Every time I see it, my off-ski, when he runs in the park and he blesses himself, I'm not trying to sound like a mad bigot. You must be the same. They must get told, do not bless yourself with a Protestant, a British loyal club. Don't bless yourselves for... Nah, they don't care. As long as they get their money. There's nobody there, like, remember the days of Butcher, taking doors off hinges and all that, and nah. Even there's nobody Rangers minded Scottish-wise in the dressing room. Conor Barron, I think he's Aberdeen or somewhere, isn't he? Well, he's up that way. But there's nobody like a wee Fergie or a Ian Ferguson. Just, nah. It's sickening. I'm telling you, it really is. I've just watched the past 4 or 5 weeks, just been through in my head like I knew it was going to happen. Here we go again. More reballs than Johnny Five.
Tosh, I know you've got some more points to make, mate, but because we've got an extended show, we're going to get another tune on and then we'll come straight back to you, mate, and we'll get your second point of the night, okay?
No bother, mate, no bother, aye.
Get yourself some mute and we'll have a second tune.
Sure, I am an Ulster Orangeman. From Marin's Isle I came to see my British brethren of honour and of fame, and to tell them of my forefathers who fought in days of yore, that I might have the right to wear the sash my father wore. It is old, but it is beautiful, and its colours, they are fine. It was worn at Derry, Aughrim, Enniskillen, and the Boyne. My father wore it as a youth in bygone days of yore, and on the 12th I love to wear the sash my father wore. For those brave men who crossed the Boyne have not fought or died in vain. Our unity, religion and laws and freedom to maintain. If the call should come, we'll follow the drum and cross that river once more, so that tomorrow's Ulster man may wear the sash my father wore. It is old, but it is beautiful, and its colours, they are fine. It was worn at Derry, Aughrim, Enniskillen, and the Boyne. My father wore it as a youth in bygone days of yore, and on the 12th I love to wear the sash my father wore. And when someday across the sea to Antrim shore you come, we'll welcome you in royal style to the sound of flute and drum. And Ulster's hills shall echo still from Rothlin to Dromore, as we sing again the loyal strain of the sash my father wore. It is old, but it is beautiful, and its colours, they are fine. It was worn at Derry, Aughrim,
Thanks for that, Fox. Enjoy that one there, guys. It's a favourite of Rangers Radio.
Superb, Foxy. Brilliant.
Still with us, Tosh? You want to come in with your second point?
Oh, mate, I'll tell you what, see if I get made Rangers manager, the first thing I'd do is appoint Jimmy Nicholl as changing room supervisor and tell him to bring his girl blaster and play that before every game. Instead of ones that tap their feet and bang the wood and bang the doors, say, right, you'll do. And the ones that don't even move, say, right, find another club. If that doesn't get you going, oh, you'll be bang into it. I don't know what does.
Foxy's got a big speaker he can bring.
YouTube nowadays, you seen the size of speakers you can get.
Carry on, mate.
I'm like this as the rest of you. Like AT says, if they get behind them, obviously we've got to back it. But see if the pre-season games are the same sort of feel as the last 4 games, and the start isn't what it is. Oh, I can't be doing this anymore. It's just going to be paused, play. It's like Groundhog Day, but we're Groundhog Year. We start off dead good, can't we come out and that and odd on it? We're playing right good. This team could win the league, day this, day that, bang, boom, a leg balloon bursting. And then Danny Rowe, well, he's not exactly first choice. Well, but he's done well, if he wins, he's done this, done that. Everything was looking right, we're winning, we're not. Here we go again. What is it? You're right what you said there, Robert. What is it, the players? Something's just, and then little things. Ever since Tav made that announcement, it's all went Pete Tong. Well, since he came back from Spain, it's went Pete Tong again. So I don't know, like he's going at it, but it's sickening. Got to see your mental health gets brought into it and everything, I swear. Because usually the same, all usually the same as me. Rangers aren't even our team, it's for life. They've not got a clue what they're up against. This isn't Sheffield Wednesday, this is a different gravy altogether. So I don't know what's going to. Something's going to give somewhere. But if he does, I'll tell you what. If he does go, we need to get somebody like Muscat, a right hard CUNT of a manager. Somebody that'll know to anything after him, and he might even make good players out of Gassama and Asgard, namely they two. They need a kick up the you know what. They need a way to set up them.
They certainly need a wee polite kick up the backside, I'll say, just to keep it PG friendly, yeah. But you're right.
I'll tell you one thing I forgot. Sorry, Robert. I'll tell you one thing I forgot. How much I let down has Scott Wilson been? See when Brian Laudrup done that interview and he said, this guy's special. Oh, you listen to God, don't you? I was like, oh, here we go. Oh, no. What biggest letdown since, oh, God knows. Devastating, but we can't buy him for $8 million. We cannot take a chance on him. I said one night, if you give him a full pre-season, blah, blah, but I don't know. Everything's gone against us again. And then you get people in this social media shouting we're toxic again, and it's heartbreaking. It really is.
You're right, mate. Scott Wilson has been a massive flop, and I was one that was on this show kind of bigging him up, saying how good a player he is and what he can bring to the table. But it's been a massive flop, and you're right to highlight they came back from Spain, and a few days later there was a TAV announcement. So it kind of goes hand in hand that since then that things have went a bit pear-shaped for us, and we're not coming away with any silverware this season. But I'll bring in Southside, and then David can join us as well and give his thoughts on what you've just said there, mate. So Southside and then David.
Good to hear you, Tosh boy. Yeah. Nah, good buddy, good. You're still banging the drum doing that Blackpool. What?
I owe you an apology, mate.
What for?
I've been Southside loyal for the past 2 seasons. Remember 2 seasons ago when we won the first day of the season? You put the ferry out.
That's right.
I will tell you the truth. I only had £3 a week. I put a base team to score, team and score and win, and I picked 7 teams. And I missed you, mate. And you won again. And I missed it.
191.
Sorry, oh, don't
well.
I'm the £2
no, listen, I heard Jay's tears, buddy. I heard you saying Muscat, right? I don't know about Muscat, to be honest. If Muscat had that much of a reputation, I think somebody would have came and got him. He didn't do too well in Belgium. I get he's done all right in China or Japan, wherever he was.
We need somebody that's going to give him a right kick up the arse, mate.
Listen, you probably need a decent Number 2, listen, I don't know what they'll do with Danny Rule, right? He's only been in the door 8 months. We've got to remember that. 8 months, and there's a lot of people want to hound him out the door. Sometimes you need to maybe show a bit of loyalty, a bit of stability, and try and do it. And sometimes you'll get the result as you're going forward. Kavanagh had already said he wants to build a squad and build a team. And then for sustained success, I think we got there a bit early this season, because I don't think we had the squad to start with that Thelwell was putting together at the start of the season with Russell Martin.
If guys tools and who's going to be like in a couple of months?
Listen, some of them have been down in tools. Some of them have been going to World Cups and that are probably thinking about, I don't want to put that tackle in, I don't want to do this because I don't want to get injured, I'm going to play at the World Cup. And then once you've lost a couple of games and you're out that league, players switch off, you go in holiday mode, and then the manager carries the can for the results. He's got to pick his strongest sort of squad and team. And there's no many times, I think, this season where we've looked at his team selection and probably thought, no, that's miles out. You might not agree with every single player. Like, if you looked at Tynecastle, for instance, when they brought in Scove Olsen for the first half, and took him off at half time. Oh no, he didn't. He took him off early in the second half. But after the first half against Hearts, nobody could have complained. We dominated that game for that full 45 minutes. The same when we were up there at the Chamber of Secrets. I said to a couple of the boys next to me at half time, I'd take Tav off because he's been stinking out there. And one of the boys says, I'll give him another 10 minutes. It's his last game at Parkhead. It's Tav and all this sentimental nonsense that you get. Well, it cost us 2 goals. Because the 2 goals come down the right hand side. And then we take him off. We're 3-1 down. So, listen, managers, I think, I don't know what will happen, Tosh. I'm no for this rinse and repeat, but I get what you're saying. We don't start well, the knife's will boot on Danny Rowe. But I think you've got to try and maybe move a lot of these players on and out and try and get the right type of player in, and hopefully it'll be a fresh start. And we've got to give him a chance. You know, if he is the guy that the board keep, if the board remove him, then fine. Whoever they put in, I'll support them and back them. Whether I agree with the decision or no, but a Rangers supporter, you follow your team, you support your team. We don't support the manager or a certain players. You support the football club, and the loyalty goes beyond what sometimes it should. And there's people I've seen saying, "Oh, I'm not watching the game anymore. I wouldn't go back. I didn't go on Wednesday night. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that." Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But dafties like myself, I'll go home and away and follow them because that's what I've done all my life, and it's a team that I love and support. So it's not going to change just because we're going through a bad spell. I mean, I watched Rangers when they were atrocious back in the 80s. So, you know, that's why sometimes I take my hat off to other people that support other teams that actually win nothing for many a seasons and follow their team faithfully through thick and thin. Whereas a lot of sometimes your support, you see them on feeds or you'll hear them saying, I'm not going back, I'm not doing this, I'm not going back to watch that. They're paid their money but they don't want to get back. That's entirely up to them. Everybody's got a choice in life, and that's what people can do it. But for me and a lot of other people out there, it's follow, hope, win, lose or draw. That's the Glasgow Rangers story, as the song goes, Tosh, no? And it's hard times watching them, and it was hard. It was hard once we got to the playoff stages, and we've seen how we've collapsed as a squad. But I don't blame it all on the manager. I blame a lot of it on the players. And we need to get better players in the building. Need to get them in maybe with some of them with the right mentality. I would go with 1 or 2. I've watched a couple of players this season in the Premier League. He's had a good season, but it's probably a one-season wonder, although he's 25. Elliot Watt is a blue nose. He's at Motherwell. He's got a bit of dig about him. He's got a bit of skill about him. I've been trying to watch a lot of him when he's not played against us. And I think he might be the right type of player that might be able to come in and help. Reminds me a wee bit like a Ryan Jack, who came in and when he was on form and playing well, he was good at what he done. And I'm hoping that maybe he could come in. If we went for the boy Ferguson, if it's touted that you have to pay the money and he wants to come, if he wants to come, he might be the right time to come now. He knows what the club's about. He might have the right mentality. and he might be another man that drives the team on and sets standards, because a lot of the players that are there, I think we'll need to make sure that new players come through and try and set the standards. If there's one or two still there, hopefully they'll start it and they'll drive it. But it comes with it. It comes within. It comes from when you walk into Auchenhowie that morning and you train. I spoke to a few ex-players in the last number of months, and they've said the same thing. If the standard isn't there when you walk in at training, then that's when standards drop. And it's down to the players to make sure that everybody's on it every time and every day of the week to drive it. You can have a big squad and you can all fight for places, but you need to have the drive and desire. In fact, modern day football players have changed from what we used to watch. Toss, when you're talking about the John Browns and all that, Ian Ferguson's and that, they're different breed of players now. Some players don't even like playing football, but they just play it because they're talented. You know, you've heard them talk about that and the money that they get. But hopefully, whether Roll's there or no, if he's there, mate, I'll give him another chance, because I want him to succeed. I want the club to succeed. But if it's going to be another rinse and repeat 6 months down into a new season, then that's what it'll be, and that's what will happen. Tosh, I don't know what they'll do. I've got a feeling they'll possibly keep him. I don't know. I'm a bit torn with Gerrard, because I know he sets the standards. I know comes and he commands respect, and people might want to come and play for him. But I just don't always like going back again for second time run. But he's similar to Walter. Walter was an assistant manager. Walter came in with just being an assistant, and he managed to turn the club around, given time. So I don't know. If you look at Arteta and what he suffered at Arsenal and what he's doing now, Klopp didn't start well. What he done at Liverpool. There's loads of managers that you could. Patience, mate, and that's something that we've not had as a support. And listen, our patience are tested. I'm raging. I'm not happy, but I try and keep a level head and look at the long term and just give we all just give opinions on here. Some are right, some are wrong, but at the end of the day, we all love the club. But it's down to the owners to decide whether Danny Rose will stay or go, and whatever they pick after this, because they've picked Martin, now they've done Danny Rose, so. To a lot is they've no picked the right two guys to start with. You're going to give them another third chance now to pick another manager, or do you stick by him and build on better players and go with players like he brought in Nadiri, Chukwani, Romans, and hope that he can build onto that. And if we keep players that are there the now, some just to keep it ticking around until we can bed another squad in, because before we know it, mate, that mob across the city will run away with more titles. We'll be fighting them off again. So if you want to keep rinsing and repeating and just buy players, and then that manager comes in and says, they're not good, we need to change. That's all we've done. It's change. What's it go as? Nowhere. You know? So
that's the fair one,
I don't know. I don't know if it's patience or no, Tosh. We'll find out, and it's down to the owners. They put all the money in. We're just the dafties that support the club that put the money in.
I agree with what you said, though. I agree
know,
what you said, mate. I hope we do sign the wee guy Watfield tomorrow and Lewis Ferguson. Build a team in them. And I'll tell you one I hope they get. I got laughed at it last year on another site. I got laughed about it. I said, how do you sign all into Burnley? He'd be like Chris Boyd, a Rangers diehard. He scored 18 goals in the Championship. When is he going to score in the SPL? I got laughed at that. I suggested that.
He's on the brink of possibly being a Premier League player. Hull's in the playoff final, so the money goes up and the wages go up if that was the case, Tosh. But I'll bring in David.
Robert, think about
seconds,
it.
Tosh. I'll bring in David first, mate, then I'll bring you back. Davey?
Evening, Tosh. Good to hear you.
Evening,
I can't really add any more to what Suicide said. He's detailed it to perfection there. But what we're all talking about in the news, it's so hypothetical at the moment. I still think there's a few wee twists coming regarding the manager's position, but we'll know because I don't think anybody's declaring. You heard Rose saying that he said the board's backing for the top guy, but I remember Martin saying that the same thing, and we know what happened to him. So it's just hopefully what I'm concerned about is I want to see some guys that can fit the jersey We don't. There's too many there. That jersey's far too big for him. And if Danny Rowe was brought that Scott Wilson in, that's a worry for me. Obviously, doesn't know the way he's going to turn out, but that is a worry for me. But well, time will tell, guys. Time will tell.
It will, David. Time will tell. And as you say, that there is concerns obviously with Scott Wilson, but the silver lining is he's a lone player, so he will go back. I don't, as you said earlier on, I don't think he's certainly not showed enough to merit a transfer of £8 to £9 million. And I think if we were ring fencing that in any way whatsoever, I'll bring in AK here. I think if you're ring fencing 8 or 9 million for Scott Wilson, then you can use that to go and recruit 2 or 3 players, maybe 1 player for that valuation and make them a day-long starter. I know, AK, you've touched Lewis Ferguson for a number of months now. If you've got £8 million there, you put it towards him. His wages are realistic. He's 2 years left in his contract. He's Scottish, internationalist, experience, Rangers connection. Ticks a lot of boxes.
Oh, 100%, mate. And I've been saying it for years, actually. If he was at Hamilton Accies, I just liked the way he went about his business. Obviously, we released him as a young man, but his family connections, his dad played with the club, his uncle played with the club, you know, and he's developed his career, and fair play to him. He could have nosedived as a 16-year-old, but he's getting released with Rangers, his boyhood team. But he showed a good attitude, you know, and that's what attracted the likes of Derek McInnes for him. You know, he likes to pick players' own attitude and you know, own ability as well. But own attitude goes a long way. And Lewis Ferguson, credit to him, he's made a career for himself. Went to Aberdeen, done well there. Went to Italy, took on a completely different culture, embraced it. Speaking fluent Italian now, he's the actual captain of Bologna. So he's grew up a fair bit, but he's still a bear at heart. I listened to Derek Ferguson on our podcast, Tosh. I don't know if you'll hear it. They're all about the Jersman, and he always speaks about Lewis, and he speaks highly of him. Just how well he's developed his career. He's an old head in young shooters a lot of the times. He's very calm, he's very assured, and just everything about him just smacks a Rangers captain for me. That's the guy that our players should be looking up to the team. But going back to again, Danny Rowe, Tosh, it's not up to us, it's up to Andrew Kavanagh. A manager's only as good as the workforce that he's got with him. You know, I work in the gas industry. If we've got some contractors in there that are just, you know, floating in and out, they're no getting their numbers, they're no caring. If they've got a manager there that isn't producing the numbers, then the big boss will no belong in changing the manager. He'll no belong in changing the workers round about him. So everybody's got to produce in numbers. Everybody's, you know, they've got the standard there to hit. But this time, the big boss has changed above them, you know, and if he decides, no, I'm sticking with my guy, the problem is not that manager. The problem is the workforce, and I need that workforce changed. That's exactly what will happen there. So whether we like it or not, Southside says we will follow on regardless, because that's our club. We've not got to change our club. But it would be nice to get some success with the loyalty that we give back to our club, you know. So we're on the same position.
Well said, mate.
Just before you joined us, Tosh, we're just looking at the squad and how it's going to shape up potentially once players depart and they run out of their contracts, players come back from loan. We just finished up on the goalkeeping position, but if you move into defence, you've got the likes of contracted players, Dujon Sterling, John Souttar, Manny Fernandez, Clinton Insiala coming back from a loan deal, Tua Romans. That's who's left in their defence. You've got Ben Davis out of contract and Leon King out of contract. Southside, suddenly the defence, it looked reassured for a long time towards that season, where we get clean sheets, we were winning games. Of late, it's been looking very weak, very ropey, but those numbers leave you very short, and that's quite an alarming position to go into a new season, knowing you need arguably a whole new defence.
I think when I think during the season we knew that once we'd seen the sort of signings we made and the loan signings that we had in the team, Robert, I think we knew we had to sort of build the defence. Obviously, Derek Cornelius came in with a view to buy. He came in at the right age, but he took the injury and then he's never managed to get back in the team since, and he'll probably not be asked to come back, I don't think, although he will be playing in the World Cup. But he would have been one that might have come in at that age at 27, and might have been somebody that we might have signed to add to the strength and the depth into the squad. Obviously, John Souttar's got the year left, and John Sterling got an extended contract, but isn't he fit to play 3-4 games in a bounce as regular as he probably should be? He always struggles with his fitness. Manny Fernandez, I don't know. He's been all right, but I think he's too casual at times. I know, for what I've heard, he struts about Auchenhowie, thinking he's a ticket and thinking he's better than what he is. His attitude's a bit to be questioned as far as I've been told, which I wouldn't doubt for where it came from. He's a bit full of himself. But that aside, some players have got that about them, but to me, I think he's too casual. I think he's still a bit raw. He could turn out to be a good player, but I just want a bit more experience in there in central defence, I think. No nonsense centre back. Somebody will go and put the tackle in, but also put it in Rose head if they have to. And at times I think he takes too many chances. And you seen him the other night strolling up the park like he's Beckenbauer, and then loses the ball just stupidly, and it puts us in trouble and we lose a goal for it. So I think there's one or two. I think we need to strengthen quite a few at the back, and get them in there. And that'll be down to Purdy while he's still there, and whoever else to look to go and get them. I know we're linked with the boy for Dundee, who we might go and get. He might be one that might come in there. But aye, it needs strengthened, Robert, central defence as well. Chiga, I think, he's done all right. Wee bit ropey at times, plenty of pace about him. He's done all right since he come back for the AFCON, although he never really played in any of the games, I don't believe. But playing on the right-hand side's probably helped him and not the left. And if you look at Fernandez, he's mostly right-footed the whole time he passes the ball. I know he does uses his left now and again, but he is predominantly right-footed, playing on the left-hand side. And I don't know, maybe if you swapped him and made him into the right-side centre-back, whether he'd be any better. I don't know. But I've watched him because I thought he was predominantly left-footed, but he isn't. He's predominantly right-footed, but he does seems to play in the left all right. But so I don't know. We need to probably build another few players in. If there's maybe a young boy we could carry. Enciala's got the right attributes and the right physicality, but whether he makes it or not, it's doubtful, Robert.
Davey? David, you still with us?
Sorry. We're doing a bridge, man, here.
Everybody gets one, mate.
You know, this is extra time for me tonight. I'm usually getting my cocoa and going to my bed with my nurse. No, I don't mean with my nurse, but by my nurse. but no, if Rob Hall is on the chat, he's great. He puts on great comments, and he doesn't mince his words. And you've got to start with a good defence. And a good defence starts with a good goalkeeper. And what Suicide says, Butland he's in the Tavernier bracket now as far as I'm concerned. You've got to freshen that up and start working your way out. So whoever's going to be there, that's our main priority. You've got to have a strong defence, and we've been shipping out too many silly goals. But we'll just need to keep hoping, and as she says, we follow.
You hear? Tosh?
I've got a solution. Sell Fernandez to Crystal Palace for 37 million and buy a defence and a midfield.
You've been playing Football Manager again?
Aye.
Well, listen, Fernandez was in the media, obviously, with potential suitors. I know again it's all speculation and reports, but there was some big teams reportedly interested in. I mean, some of the fees were going about 20 million, etc., etc. So you bodes the question: if the price comes in, sometimes you can't say no. You've just got to take the money, and as you say, Tosh, you get some money, you can go and build a squad with that. You can bring in 3 or 4 players, and that one player out, 3 player in, 3 or 4 players in, suddenly makes a good bit of business.
Well, I put a status on the page earlier on. How can Hearts spend under 5 million on a whole team, and we spend 40 million, and we still can't get in front of the worst Harrier team in 40 years? My head's bursting trying to work it out. Wow, it's just honestly, Hearts. That Tony Bloom, you've got to take your hat off to them. If they've done the right, they've done it. Under 5 million. Some of the players they've fun. Yeah, we spend 40 million, and we're back to this. Oh no, oh no. But like I want to say something. Like the boys are saying there, doesn't matter who's in charge next year. I pray we get after a good start. Win, lose or draw. We are the people. We are the Gers. Doesn't matter what happens. You take the rough with the smooth. You can't support us when we're in trouble. Don't support us when the good times come.
Well said, son. Well said.
It's certainly going to be an interesting summer with transfers in and out of the club, and you never know. Tosh, what you said at the start of your call might be a fruit. It might be true. It might not be. Only time will tell, as Davis says, and we just need to wait and see. But AK, again, just to kind of finish up the squad part, just before we move on to another topic for the last part of the show. Midfield, we'll do midfield and strikers. You've got Connor Barron, Nico Raskin, Chukwane, Diamonde, Asgard, Bairami. You've got Lyle Cameron and Jose Cifuentes coming back from a loan. Bailey Rice is out of contract. That's your midfield. Your forward line is Chermiti, Nadiri, Miovski, Gisama, Antman. You've got Danilo coming back from loan, Ross McCausland back from loan, and young Finlay Curtis back from loan.
There's a lot of decisions and conversations that will need to be taking place regarding who's making the cut and who isn't making the cut. I think there'll be a lot that will not be making the cut, put it that way. But young Finlay Curtis, I think, could be a shining light, and hopefully will be a shining light, because he showed good attitude, good application when he's went to Kilmarnock. Again, he could have taken the huff a wee bit because he was getting put out away from his boyhood club. But to be fair to the boy, he's played well. He's got the heat down. He's listened to Neil McCann, the coaches at Kilmarnock. It's all about learning curve now for the boy, the level, the fit that he's playing at. But he needed games. So Ox said the other night that he would still have been, even in hindsight, just for the sake of the boy, he's better off there learning, getting game time than kicking his heels at Rangers in a poor environment for a young boy. So it's a learning curve, but I think he could be really good for us for next year. But we've got to give him the chance. There's no use in bringing him back and then he's kicking his heels and sitting on the bench again. But can I just answer Tosh's point? He will get his chance, Tosh. Listen, you said what's happened this year, what's went wrong. I think it's obvious. It's obvious for me. The players down tools on Russell Martin after he picked his fight with Tavernier and Raskin at the start of the season, and they've down tools again in Danny Rowe. It's evident what is happening. It's right in front of our face, and we're refusing to single these players out because they're fans' favourite. So what's the easiest thing we do? No, hold on, Tosh. Blaming the man. Hold on, pal. We keep blaming the manager, as I say, all the way from Gio right up to where they now. We get rid of Clement far too easily. We kicked the carpet for underneath him because of in the dressing room, it was going for him, and they decided that day against Queen's Park that was him. Mutiny in the dressing room. That team was more than good enough to beat Queen's Park, but they decided that he was no, they didn't want him as their manager anymore, and you can't have that. Sir Alex Ferguson said in his book or in an interview, I've seen the quote with him, without discipline in your dressing room, you've got nothing. And if you allow the players to run the club, look at Chelsea, look at Spurs, there's examples there, and look at the last 5, 6, 7 years at our club. That's the problem, no the managers.
Question for you, Jay.
On you go, pal.
Can you remember the show after the Birmingham pre-season friendly last year?
Nah, remind me.
How downbeat everybody was. That's the football we're going to expect. This is going to happen. That's going to happen, and it just went completely sour and sour and sour. I just hope that doesn't happen again. Like you say, if the owners decide Danny Rowe's the man to take us, I'm 100% behind that. But I just pray to the heavens we get after a good start, because that's the last thing he needs. If we don't defend it with a draw and a beat, you know what I'm trying to say. If it doesn't go the way you hope, I feel the worst. And that says after another start in October, we'll look to start again, start afresh. That was my point of fact earlier. We can't afford to do this anymore.
Oh, you're 100% correct there. Southside, what do you think yourself?
Just think I was blotted at Birmingham at the time. I can't remember my hopes.
No light.
It's a good display that night, Tosh. I remember that at half time. Listen, it was a shadow of the team that played that night. And incidentally, Tav didn't go on the team bus. Tav had to make his own way back up for the game that night. Through things that were happening between him and the board back then. I don't really go into pre-seasons much, Tosh. I've seen them over the years. I know with Gerrard, when he first came, we won that wee tournament in France before we went on and won the league that year. We went undefeated in the pre-season friendlies, but I don't take too much. I don't need too much into it, if I'm honest. There's a World Cup on. It's going to be harder to try and recruit players if we're trying to get some players that might be on the fringes at World Cup, so might not be starting, but might be there with their country. We don't know. We'll just have to wait and see who we're sort of got on the list and who we're hoping to try and add to the squad, Tosh. But
forget the World Cup, mate. You're going to put a good word, yeah. You're going to put a good word in and get another pre-season friendly down at Blackpool.
Blackpool, I was doing the last time we went down there. That was a good one. Listen, it's like anything, Tosh. We'll find out shortly who the manager will be. I think the board will come out and state something. People are wanting to know 100% categorically who's going to be. Rowe's saying he'll be here, he'll be there, and that's what he's telling us at the moment. Whether that's going to remain in place, we'll find out, and then we can sort of plan for next season. They've got our season ticket money, Tosh. They've took the money off us early. They've got that in the bank. So, 98%, I believe, or something like that's reapplied. I know the two ends behind the Copeland and the Broom the bits that they use for offices, I know they're going to tough all them out of there, and they're going to use it for hospitality because they want to generate more money. So that's something that's in the pipeline with the club at the moment, and it might start for the following season, where they're going to make that hospitality in there, Tosh, to generate more money. It's one of their ideas going forward. But to do that, we need to attract better players. We need to get back to winning ways, and we need to start to get sustained success. They're not going to take this lightly. I think the owners, they've got an ego. They'll want to be winning. They'll want to show that they're winning. But we need to get rid of the nonsense with the referees in Scotland and how what's happening, mate. And until we get a level playing field going forward for all the clubs, then it's only going to go one way. As
Have you seen that photo? Have you seen that photo on Facebook with John Beaton high-fiving Callum McGregor? That says it all, man. I put it on Facebook. I said that says it all for me.
I don't do fake book, mate. I've not done it.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Sort of social media.
High five
But I've
and
not
calm
seen it.
again
No, I
before the
haven't
game.
seen it.
Oh, actually, that's a crack. But you see it. You just picture him talking, going, "All right, pal, how you doing? Don't worry, this is under control." That's what I picture them saying anyway.
Don't believe every picture you see, Tosh. I've seen some pictures showing a handball from Wednesday night at Fir Park.
Aye, Motherwell get the English Premiership badge on it.
That's the one, mate. A certain.
I'm just saying. That looks a good photo, mate. That looks a good photo. John Beaton and Cal McGregor high-fiving each other. I said, that said it all for me.
Well, a certain ex-politician who supports the mob across the city also put out an image showing a handball, a Premier League badge, but 2 footballs. So there you go. But that teases up nicely to a certain...
Was that Sunbed, Robert?
Aye.
Was it a guy who get done for perjury in a court? I wouldn't trust anything he said to him.
Yeah, exactly. Put an image out there with a Barclays Premier League badge on a Motherwell tap with a night tick and 2 footballs, but there you go. Barclays is onto a great point that's been widely discussed, and those who have on our Facebook might have seen a post we put up regarding the officials. And let's be fair, it's been down with quite a bang. And AK, not only Scottish football, world football is standing up, taking notice of the standards and, in my opinion, alleged possible corruption within Scottish football. And this is not the first time that we have highlighted it. AK.
No, we haven't, pal. We haven't. We've been consistent because we feel aggrieved with the injustices that we've had to suffer momentarily over the years. But it's not just this season or last season. You go back to Gerrard when we're losing a League Cup goal with Frank Connor on the line and the 3 Celtic players offside. There's plenty of numerous examples. Christ, we've had 21 goals disallowed this season alone. There's red cards that they've missed and offside goals and dodgy lines and that. But what Wednesday's example, Scottish football's came to the forefront this year, because of Hearts basically, and fair play to them. Other people down south and that, they've got Sky TV, so they'll watch the old game Scottish football, so they'll take an interest. But it's mainly Rangers Celtic games that we're interested in. But because Hearts have been up the top of the table or on top of the table for as long, and now they're down to the final game of the season, so they tune in for that Motherwell Celtic game. They tune in for a Hearts Falkirk game that they'll never normally do, But then when they see that, the Twitter world just exploded. Gary Lineker and TalkSport have been talking about it the last couple of days, and many other people took to Twitter saying that that's the worst VAR decision they've ever seen in their life. But then you look at the Hearts going to Fir Park there last week, they get 2 blatant penalties denied. Now, see VAR's doing their job and Hearts get at least one of the penalties. They win last week and Celtic don't get that penalty and draw. Hearts actually win the title there during the week. That's how much the officials, the VAR teams and all that have had on the influence where the league title finishes. And that's also in the back of the supercomputer that put out the fixtures that made Hearts travel to Parkhead in the last day of the season. There's only 3 times in the last 25 years where if you're top of the table going into the split, then you're at home your last game, with there another one. So people are beginning to question the integrity of Scottish football. Rangers have been moaning about it for years. They think it's so great. So now they go like that. They might have a point there,
Computer
by the way,
called 67.
Hold on, just a wee thing as well, Rob. Sorry, before you move on. Did you know Martin O'Neill had a nice comfy meal there with Willie Collum last week before we play us at the Piggery? Did they get the memo? Is that just to make sure yous have got a job today for us? Make sure he's there. You ever heard of that? Alec Ferguson sitting with the top of the 3 referee in England. Come on, what's going on here? We all know.
Davey, what has Scottish football become? It's a sad indictment that when there has been a season, as much as it's been frustrating for us, when you look at it, Hearts at the top of the tree for a long, long time, deservedly so, on the cusp of a title, and then suddenly it's getting overshadowed by officials once again. What has Scottish football become?
It's just embarrassed itself, that's all. I mean, you just need to have a look at how many referees for Scotland that have gone to a World Cup. None. So that tells you everything about them. But we've been living with this for years and years. And corruption, you can call it what you like. It's just pathetic organisation for the top. And if we don't get that changed at the top, unfortunately, we're just going to have to sup it up, because if you don't get the top changed, everything will just stay the same. It isn't bad. And the thing is, what you were saying is, this doesn't usually get advertised in England or anywhere else. And that decision has been all over the place. And that they can't deny that. So it stinks to a mile. But what do? We just go and stop them next year or the next game, because we are the people. I'll need to go, Robert. So thanks for having us on, and you stay safe, and God bless the Gers. And always remember, folks, there's a famous saying: no one likes us, we don't care. Good night.
Yeah, here, Davey. Cheers for your time, mate. Always good to hear from you.
Thanks, Davey.
Southside, it has become a massive talking point, and as AK said, and I touched on, it's not just us saying it as sour grapes because we are coming away trophyless, sitting third. We're not throwing toys at the pram. We're doing it basically because we've said it for years, the integrity of Scottish football.
Listen, I've said it on here umpteen times. We've talked about referees. I've mentioned that even when we've won games, I went, he's atrocious today. You know, look at some of the decisions. Listen, it's been highlighted all season. Hopefully every other team in Scotland starts to take note of what's going on. And I never used to bother with referees. I never used to think it'll square itself up. You get a dodgy one sometimes, and then it evens itself out throughout the season. And I always used to believe that when I used to watch Rangers for many, many seasons. But lately, and then when I thought when VAR came in, I thought, well, do you know what? I'll probably make it a bit better. Might be the odd decision here and there that I've seen, you think, oofed. But nah, it's blatant now, and it's blatantly happening in front of your eyes, and they're getting chances to go and rectify it. You look at Walsh, who couldn't give a goal at Easter Road. You look at the one when he gets sent to the monitor for Diamande, and he still sent him off. You look at even Clancy, Hon, Bob and Edward punched the ball in the neck and back to even then, still couldn't even see it. You look at the penalties that they've been awarded. They've been awarded 18 penalties this season, by far more than any other club in the country. The red cards, they've had one. You look at the state of Maida running about that park going against us the other week. Foul after foul after foul, and yet Mr. Walsh chose to turn a blind eye to it. Chimiti was booked for one tackle in 19 minutes. He chose then to book some Celtic players, but you look at the times he was booking them at 80 odd minutes because they were standing in front of the ball. The odd tackle here or there, he decided to give them a yellow card, and I think he ended up booking 4 in the last 10 minutes. But while Maida went to 82 minutes before he got booked, he even pulled the jersey off a Rangers player and still didn't get a booking for it. They know what they're doing, these refs. You can clearly see when they want to book players and when they don't, and how they let them away with foul after foul after foul. You look at the total added time on in games. That game the other night was meant to 5 minutes. They were still playing in the 98th or 99th minute before they decided just to give them a penalty. And you look at the people throughout Britain that have watched this and seen it happening, and now they're starting to go, what's going on? We've watched it for years. I actually thought that it would probably balance it out a bit. It would help them. Then you get that he was in more than he was out. we lose a cup final because of it, because they can't give us a penalty, because you've got a guy who's Frank Connor, who's standing there, and his words he was making and he was out, you know, as part of a VAR team that isn't going to gear, because his allegiance is to that team across the city, which he's never had. And now they're doubling down. John Beaton. I've seen the SFAs out today saying, "No, this isn't right." That mob across the city put his details out years ago. Years ago, they put it out there. They had his phone number and his address. The SFA didn't come out and say it. This is a club who chased their chairman, their CEO, firebombed his house. This is hit Dallas with coins, attacked his house. This is a team for their support. And now, because whatever's happened to Beaton or whatever, he's been under house arrest and all this nonsense they're coming out with now. What were they doing to Dallas when it was happening to him? What were they doing when it was happening to Beaton the last time? Nothing. Nothing was said. And they had his details out there apparently. It was all out there for everybody to see. So this is nothing new. Nothing new at all. But you look at some of these officials and you just look at it and you wonder, no wonder they're not even representing in the World Cup. But VAR was to help them. And what they're doing is systematically using it to suit their advantage. And everybody knows that was never a penalty kick the other night. You could clearly see when the boy headers the ball. In fact, hit that boy's hand, it wouldn't have went the distance it went and the pace on the ball that it went to. But it doesn't suit the narrative. He goes out and he looks at a monitor and he makes a decision, apparently within 10, 15, 20 seconds. He's made the decision. It'll be good to hear the audio. And Colin will probably double down on this and try to say aye. And he's a guy that said Hearts should have had a penalty 2 weeks ago or a week ago. Probably 2 penalties when I looked at it, because the other boy aimed the ball in the box. And Colin says, aye, Hearts should have had a penalty. Too late. The same as he said Kilmarnock shouldn't have had a penalty gave against them when Celtic are getting a goal in the last minute, a penalty kick when the boy kicks the ball. A Kilmarnock player kicks it off his own player's hand. But they give the penalty, they get the goal, but it shouldn't have been a penalty, we'll learn for it. Oh, that's nonsense. It is abysmal. I'm glad the rest of Britain's getting to see it, the shambles that it is. The added on time they get in games, they've seemingly had close to 800 minutes added on in games. It doesn't surprise me. And I don't think Hearts are going to have a chance tomorrow. I don't think they've got a chance. I think McInnes was right. And it's good that he called it out. Even the Motherwell manager said, what we're doing here. You know, he's even looking at it and saying it's never a penalty. But for some reason, John Beaton could go to a monitor and look at it and thinks it's a penalty. Fine, he thinks it's a penalty. It's his judgment. But it's scandalous. It's a wrong decision, and everybody out there knows it apart for that mob that support the one team for East End of the city. Everybody else knows it's never a penalty. There might be some fair-minded ones out there that might actually say, aye, we got away with one. But for me, it's scandalous refereeing decisions that have cost, that will probably cost Hearts the title, because Hearts didn't need to go there tomorrow and get a draw. It was set up, Hearts had won their game, and they were getting an extra 3 or 4 minutes added on to their actual time for whatever reason, and then they get handed a penalty. So at the end of the day, you're getting to see for what it is. But see if Hearts win this league, right? See if Hearts manage to win this league, this will get forgot about, because Hearts will not make a protest about it and it'll get forgotten about. But if that mob go on and win the league, then people will probably still pay more attention to it. But if Hearts don't win this league tomorrow, and if Hearts do manage to win this league tomorrow, then it'll probably get forgotten about and it'll just be carry on as usual. So something has to change. The refs have to change. The divided run VAR has to change, and hopefully every other club in Scotland now will see what's happening, how many times it takes them to get booked in a game, how many of their players can run about kicking players before they even get spoken to or get a booking, and the amount of added time that they get in games week after week after week. And if any of that mob's listening, see if they think that I heard them saying it weeks ago, cheating, beating, we can't have beaten refereeing the Rangers Celtic game and all that, the man he refereed at Ibrox. You kidding me on? You really seriously kidding me on? They get more advantage for any referee in Scotland than what we've watched in the last 10 years. And if they don't think that, then they're deluded, that mob. Honestly, they're deluded, man.
I think we're going to have the pleasure of Mr. Fox joining us.
Just a wee comment on this, mate. I don't say much anymore. I just think it's a strange set of circumstances that when the scum across the city were trying to oust their board halfway through the season, that's when all the bad decisions came into referees to help them through games. Only my opinion, of course. And I think that's what's happened here. You don't hear them shouting to get their board out now, and that's because they've been getting these so-called breaks for referees, mate. And I think that's got a lot to do with it.
I don't think you'll be alone in that, Fox. I don't think you'll be alone, mate. Tosh, you still with us, mate? We're just about to wrap up the show. Always good to hear from you. Your final words, Tosh? Last call for Tosh. You're on mute, mate, if you're still there. That must be away at the pub early doors. AK, Southside touched on it there. The SFA came out today and said that John Beaton required police protection at his home with his family. Now, you don't want to see that, of course, because at the end of the day, he's a human being. Nobody should be subjected to that. However, Southside makes a great point. It happened years ago, and there was nothing said about it. But that's the world we live in. But the SFA, to come out and say it's knee-jerk reactions and comments from managers, pundits, players, ex-players. Wow. They can have a pop at anybody, but as soon as anyone mentions anything bad against a refereeing decision, they're reprimanded. Touchline ban, fines. Former Brown said after the Raskin Ghost goal, that was clearly a goal, corruption, and yet he goes and gets a £3,000, well, the club gets a £3,000 fine.
I know. It's double standards. It's hypocrisy. We've seen it and heard it all before. They're marking their own homework a lot of times, in any dispute or voice of criticism or that directed their way, they double down on it. Because we know what's went on. We know who all the referees support. Down in England, the head of referees down there, forget his name, but he used to be a really good referee. He was pressured to basically say any of the referees that supported certain teams as a boy, show their allegiance to that particular club. Willie Collum was asked that question at the start of last season, I think it was, and immediately doubled down and said, "No chance. I'm no releasing that sort of stuff." Why? Because he's covering for them. We know their allegiances because we see them every week. Christ, Frank Connor's got a supporters club named after him because he didn't give that goal against us when Julian scored the offside goal. So we know what's going on. We've been highlighting it for as long, and now eventually Southside said the rest of the world can see, and now the spotlight is on Scottish football for all the wrong reasons. I'd love for Hearts to win that tomorrow, but it's been contrived to go against them. And I think Derek McInnes said that, as I said, if Hearts get any of the penalties they should have got last week and Celtic don't get that penalty, Hearts win the league before they even go to Celtic Park tomorrow. So even if they didn't get the penalty there to win, Celtic would need to beat them, I think, with 3 clear goals, which is a feat in itself. But the fact that they could just win 1-0 is good enough, because that dubious penalty again, where the crowd all spilled onto the park, over exuberance, not a word said about that. Not for the SFA, not for the SPFL, not for Celtic, not for Motherwell. That's just one of the things. It's happening too many.
All right, mate. Well, I suppose we better let Fox get to his bed at some point tonight. So thanks for joining myself. Final word for your good self, AK, then Southside.
Oh, good chat tonight, guys. Aye, long shift tonight. Southside's only on half pie, right enough. Me and you were on double pie. So, but thanks again, Rob. Good show. It's not been a great season, but we still look forward to watching our team tomorrow. Come on, Rangers, just let's get a win and then let's have a fresh approach going into next season, and hopefully things will simmer down, but then we'll know what the future lies ahead. But thanks again to yourself, Southside, the Takey team, and everybody that's listening.
Cheers, mate. Always a pleasure. Southside.
I'd like to thank everybody that listens on the YouTube feed, first and foremost, because they're loyal and they're there every week listening to the show. There's a lot of them stayed on tonight until after 10 o'clock to keep listening to the show, so I'd like to thank every one of them that's stayed on. Thank the Techie team and all throughout their work throughout the season, because it's been a long shift and they do well, and if it wasn't for the Techie team, we wouldn't have a show to start with, and all the modifications that we had to do at the start of the season. And everything else, so I'd like to thank them for all their efforts for every day and every week that they do the shows, because without them, as I say, there is no show. Good night, good to be on with yourself, Robert. Well hosted, mate, as always, and it's good to be on with AK, and good wee show. Looking forward to looking forward to go to see the team for the final game of the season tomorrow at Falkirk. Hope we'll get a Rangers win, which is on the Super 6 to start with. So it's expected, and it should be accomplished tomorrow. But hopefully the players will show up with the right attitude, and they'll get the job done. And hopefully Hearts will stick one up them tomorrow. Since that mob's been let back into it, justice should be done at the end of the season, and they've been here a long time. I never thought they would stay there. I've not really got any great love for Hearts, but when they're playing that mob and they've managed to get help when needed all the way to the last game of the season to build it up for them, I hope the Jam Tarts do them. And as always, mate, thanks to everybody else that listens. I know we've always got new listeners and they always hang about just to hear what we've got to say. It's not my cup of tea. I wouldn't be listening to any of their shows or podcasts, but everybody's different, and I suppose when you've got obsessed listening to you all the time, then that's what they're going to do for the other side of the city. But thanks for having us on, mate. And it's all about the Rangers tomorrow, and hopefully the Jam Tarts will stick it up them. So, as always, there's only one team and one crown.
Cheers, mate. Always good to have you on. Listen, a big shout out to AK and Southside for joining me doing the show this evening. Of course, David and Tosh for joining us, and a massive shout out to the guys in the background, Fox and Old School Blue. As Southside said, over the seasons and many years, they've put on a show for us to deliver to you that are listened, and that's a big thank you as well. Everyone that's joined us tonight, listening on Facebook, YouTube, and MixLR, particularly those that have stayed right through to the end, an extended show just for you guys. So thanks for joining us. Rangers Radio will be back tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. with a pre-match show as we travel to Falkirk for the final game of the season. Enjoy the rest of your night and enjoy your weekend. Take care. Take it away, Old School Blue.